Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. I've got an echo. Do you have an echo? Uh, right as I was hitting the go live button, it's too bad an echo. Stand by. Yes, we're live. It, there's Andrews. Hey, Andrew. That's gonna be like a triple. Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check. Hmm. I think you guys have an echo. Andrews, do you guys have an echo? Uh, that should help. Glad the camera check. Oh, there's just two of these. Uh, settings. Monitoring the speaker. Nothing extra. Let me do this one. Change the try and make X better. Something is creating a loop. I'm stuttering straight to from the mic to my ear. There's a loop in here somewhere. If I mute, maybe if I just turn it down. There. No, there it is. Still there. What if I say I don't want to monitor it? Does that help? It's still an echo. It is looping all the way through the system somehow, even though I told it not to monitor. Hey, let's do this. We'll mute that. Not that one. This one. Okay. And then we'll close that. Oof. It's got me on all the channels. We don't want that. It's got me on 1 and 2. Yeah, 1 and 2. And if I turn on the monitor now, how bad is the echo? It is. Ooh, it's bad. Okay, so let's turn the monitor back off, and I only hear the one coming from within the microphone itself. How does it sound to you guys if I turn it on? Check, check, 1, 2, 1, 2, check. It doesn't appear to be looping anymore. Can you still hear me? Okay, so that did something. I don't hear it cycling through. I shouldn't have to do it this way, but gotta love it. So now let's check out X and tell you guys. As I was hitting the go live button, I had a child. Well, actually, not a child. No, I did. I did have a child come screaming through. My wife was carrying her. She took a little tumble. Took a little tumble right as the show started. Came back in. We had to administer first aid. So let's get on over to x.com. Get rid of some of these extra windows. Right. Home X. That should show us online. It does not. So let's click somewhere else and see what it does. Uh, let's do. Just click me. Does that do what I want? I know I turned on X, or at least I think it did. So there's me. And then, yeah, it says I'm live. There it goes. It just took a minute to refresh for whatever reason. That's, okay, so we're not stuttering and hitched anymore. I like that. And we're still in 4K on YouTube. Next, we'll have to check out Facebook and the others, Twitch. But right now, this is not that. Okay, so yeah, as I said, as I hit go live, Moto comes screaming through, and that's why we were late. But let's get up a browser. Make sure the collab cam is active. It says it is. Okay, good. Just in case any of our and friends show through. Andrew says you're on X. Yes, haha, fixed it. What I ended up doing was just lowering the amount of data I was blasting out and changing the audio from 2.1 to 2. Not that I mean, I can send more. I definitely don't have a 5.1 setup, but some of the stuff I share has bass, so 2.1, right? Twitch and YouTube hate that. YouTube is just better at filtering it. And let me check on stream health real quick. It says healthy. So even though I've lowered it, YouTube is still fine with it. And now it's not clogging the pipes at X. Let's now turn on our browser. Let's go to presentation view and find our window capture and start. Still no Azusa. That's months ago. And this one is just the stuff I found when I opened the browser getting ready to get started, but you know me. How many windows do I have? That's ridiculous. Oh, because Chrome was open too, that's why. No, we don't want a circular hall of mirror effects. It's like, do you want to look at your X speed? So here's how. There we go. I think it's almost the right size. It looks a little too tall. No, it's really good. All right, so let's shrink this in about 4 or 5 pixels. And let's drop this about 20 pixels. I see why. I was keeping it off of the title. Oh well. So somebody was joking about depreciation on Teslas, and what do you know? Here's the first article that popped up on my home screen when I opened the browser. Here's how much a 3-year-old Tesla is worth today. Which one? Let's see. So 3 years should be past the used car bump that we had for COVID. Let's see what that did to things. Uh, cheapest one's 40. Average use price 21 to 30. That's not terrible for a used car, especially when you consider that a lot of them are going to be the entry level models. So depending on when they're sampling from, that could be like nothing to half. It wasn't presented in the way I was expecting when I clicked on it. This one, I figured it was going to be some mess. Tesla didn't just slash prices by 20 grand. They just canceled the Foundation series. It's no longer. We had a preview of this when they sent it so that I could get mine non-Foundation, and now nobody has the opportunity to get a Foundation unless there's one just kind of stuck in the system somewhere. And that one is unrelated, but any article about HOA, I tend to click on because they're the worst. Now let's open up our first link. I didn't obviously have time to clear them up and see what they are. This first one I know is about the Mini Cooper because it's on their site. The John Cooper Works, the JCW. It's official this time. We promise. Sure. The first ever battery-powered Mini JCW is here, but you probably already knew that. The nose-based charge port. I hope that is. That's probably the radar. Yeah, that's the radar because there's a charge port there. On the wrong side of the car for this country. It's on the wrong side of the car for any supercharger, actually. All right, let's see. But in Europe, you guys have a better non-Tesla network than we do. It's the Go Fast version. It's got a WLTP range of 230 miles, so like 175 or more, maybe 200. Not bad. 0 60 in 5.9 seconds. So the ID4 could probably give it a run for the money. Although it's also 62 miles per hour than 60. I wouldn't call it the Go Fast model, but maybe it can handle corners a little better than your average EV. I love a Performance Mini, or welcome a Performance Mini, but I wish they'd toned down on the plastic frippery glommed onto the body. Looks like aftermarket crap. All right. Glorified commuter car. I don't see this as someone's primary vehicle to replace their eyes. Why not? If you were already rocking a Mini, this looks like it can do the same thing. Without a limited slip differential, this will absolutely destroy its front tires. Really? And it's front-wheel drive. I didn't catch that. Like that might be why it is as long of a 0 to 62 as it is. Let's see. 24 miles an hour top speed. That doesn't really matter. The Countryman can take 130. Has a maximum of 95. It must have a smaller battery to make it a little lighter. Let's see. Preliminary technical specs. Cosmetic pack. Really? This is the real one, not the trim. Okay. Now they had a trim. 258 horsepower, 258 foot-pound of torque. Front-mounted electric motor. That is so weird. I mean, yeah, the Mini is a front-wheel drive vehicle, but as an EV, that's a weird choice. Not that Toyota didn't do it. I'm clearly not the target customer, but those of you that love your minis, here's one. Is that a front camera? It's definitely a front camera. Look at that. They must have the surround view. I bet you there's cameras on the mirrors and elsewhere as well. It is BMW after all. All right, so the first two are definitely minis. Let's see if Carwow said anything opinionated about it. Da, 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 da. It costs less than 40,000 pounds. That's something right there. Unveiled alongside the similarly high performance Mini Aceman SUV. You're calling this high performance? It's not. All right, there's an interior view. They've really done up that dash screen thing. I like it compared to the old ones. It's a bold color choice. Oh, it certainly is. I like the back. I like the back. Okay. Mm. So let's see. What do we want to check out? Uh, I'm wondering if there's a 0 to 60 time for EVs. Is it? All right, let's just do this. Let's just compare it to the Model 3. That way I don't end up with weird stuff on my search. Okay. 4.9 for 29.9 after savings. That's nice. That's a long range rear wheel drive. So that's the base model that they offer today. I don't know if this is a fair comparison anymore. Let's give her that savings crap. Okay, there we go. 42. So about the same price. And I can't make it any slower than that. They just don't offer it. That's the long range rear wheel drive. We had $5,000 for a front motor. And it drops further. Range goes down too. Interesting. Oh, the range goes down a lot. It didn't used to be that way. It used to be just a little bit. Um, so 4.9. That's and that's the rear wheel drive. There's nothing you can do to make it slower, except put a smaller battery in, and they don't offer that anymore for reasons, tax reasons, really. All right, let's see. Let's go Toyota. This is probably not the America site. All right, so they were smart enough to get me to the America site. Where's that Busy Forks? You can get a fuel cell EV. So exciting. No, thank you. Uh, where's just EV? EV. And it's not a hybrid EV if it doesn't have a plug on it, Toyota. I need to hurry up and write that letter. Electrified, I guess. It's a plug-in hybrid, but I don't want any gas because that'll just mess up the comparison. They don't have any plug listed. Buggers. Buggers. Let's see. Hybrid EV. Again, truck. Let's see. Battery EV. There we go. They really don't want to sell this thing, do they? Come on. And I don't care about local specials. Just give me your 0 to 60 time, which you probably don't. Specs. This isn't the slowest one, but it's one of the slowest ones, so I figured let's look at it. I got a range. Was there performance, warranty, packages, weights? Mechanical performance, I guess. Nope. This isn't really their jam. PC 4X 0 to 60. They might know a thing or two if I don't need a membership first. Is that more than the Tesla? That looks like more than the Tesla. It's Cybertruck and the EV9. That boy's gone. The Fisker. 6.4. So it's a little better than the. What's up, 01010? Good to see you. So it's a little bit faster than than an SUV that wasn't even attempting to be fast. With that Mini Cooper, John Cooper Works sold as a sporty car. I think that is right in line with the ID4. I even put the little dot in there. Car driver again. All right, so 60. Oh wait, there it is. Right. They got an easy link to it. 4.8. So, 4.8 in the extra power mode. That's obviously the performance one. That is new, I believe, because I remember when this thing came out, I was complaining about how it was the Camry of EVs. 4.8 is not that. 4.8 is solid. But 7.3. 7.3. But they cover that range. So they've got a Toyota slowness of 7. Now they go down to 4.8. For a larger, crossover SUV type, it's not terrible. I don't know that you can sell 5 point whatever as performance sporty. It would have been great 25, 30 years ago, but today, performance is almost free for an EV maker. All right, so again, I didn't sort or massage these, so let's see what's up on Teslarati. We've got the Cybertruck. It's a free promo in the Fiat USA ad, and it was an interesting ad. Let me make sure that I've got my musical loop turned off. Patrick is here. And let's put him on screen. And also show him my screen. And yeah, I'll show you. And the Cybertruck is a free promo in the Fiat USA ad. And it was an interesting ad. Let me make sure that I've got my musical loop turned off. Do I have the HDMI capture? Patrick is here. To window capture. There used to be an option for me to send my output window to you guys.
Hello.
Hello, how's it going? Yeah. Almost. What's going on, Patrick? Can you hear me? Oh, maybe he can't.
Hello.
Let me make sure I'm setting back the right microphone to you.
I can't hear you.
Turned on. Do I have? How's that? Is that better? Patrick is here. Can you hear me now? Window capture. Can you hear me now? Window to you guys.
Hello.
Hello, how's it going? Can you hear me now? No? It says I'm sending the crisp microphone back. Let me make sure that that is still set up. Sending back the window. It says crisp microphone, unless I want to use crisp input, which I don't. And is it muted? No, crisp input is muted, but crisp microphone is not.
Okay. All right. I think it's working now.
Okay, cool. I had a
Yes. Good.
whole audio thing this morning. It was echoing and I had to mute
I think
stuff.
I think it was on my end.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'd set the microphone, but the speakers were still going. Anyway,
Ah,
whatever. We've got
okay.
it now. Cool.
Boom, boom. What's going on?
Not much. How are you?
Oh man. Moto took a tumble right before the show started, so we
Oh no.
had to bandage her up, but we got her done. But she didn't want to do the disinfectant, so because it stings.
Mm, right. Sometimes being a parent, you have to do those things whether they want to or not,
Right.
for
Because
the right reasons.
exactly. It was like, hey, you can lose this leg. It's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it's also true.
Maybe you don't want to quite scare her like that. Whatever. Nightmares about her leg falling off.
True, true.
Just distract her with some candy and spray it.
You want to be a zombie? She's totally into Halloween. This is how you become a zombie.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
I guess that's probably not a good
Walk
one. That
around with
might be a selling point.
a limp. Right. Have you taught her the Michael Jackson Thriller dance?
I need to show that to her. I think she'd get a kick out of it. She loves music.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so far we've discussed the Mini Cooper John Cooper Works, and I noticed that for a sporty car, that it was barely faster than the BZ4X and is slower than the newer performance-oriented VW ID4. I picked that one to look at because I remember complaining about how slow it was when it came out, and apparently
Mm.
it's a slow model, even slower than the original at something 0 to 60. But now they have a much faster one at 4 point whatever 0 to 60. And I was trying to benchmark it against the Model 3, and that was a bad move because the rear wheel drive long range has a 4 and change second 0 to 60. So the base model is a performance car.
Yes. Yeah. Although, the market doesn't need every car to be a performance car. There's plenty of people
No,
who want to,
yeah,
you know.
but if you're selling it as a performance car, it should
Oh,
compete.
yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't mad that the BZ and the and the and the Volkswagen have a slow model because not everybody needs the speed. It should be faster than 10, but beyond faster than 10, it's really more than most people need unless you're saying it's a performance car.
Right. Yeah.
Take
Uh,
money.
right after we got our Prius, so this was probably 2000,
Yeah.
um, I was pulling out of a gas station. It was on Christmas Day. We were driving back home from my in-laws, and there was a car coming and an opening, and I'm like, oh, I can make it. And I stomp on the accelerator, and it did not go as fast as I had expected because I wasn't used to driving the Prius. And
Yeah.
and then the car behind me got pretty close, and all of a sudden their lights popped on, and I got
Oh.
pulled over for
Oh. It's a cop.
yeah. Yeah, and then once he saw that I wasn't drunk, he let me go with a warning. But
It's like, this is not a
yeah,
sports car.
right. Yes, every once in a while, that little bit of acceleration is handy that the Tesla has. But it would have been nice to have it there in the Prius 20 some years ago.
Yes. I'm looking for my century of sameness. Oh, there it is. My century of sameness photo because I like it better than that guy's picture that he is sharing. And I don't. I'm in the directory where I put it together, but I don't see it. I will save this and come back to it later. But what we were actually here for is Tesserati sharing this ad from about
Yes.
Cybertruck. It was a really weird choice, and as they say, it's probably more of a free ad for Tesla than anything. Let's take a quick look at it and mute it just in case my audio's working. I think it was. Shock and awe. Inspired by angels. Angles, sorry. Inspired by angels.
Mm-hmm.
Squeezy. Ice in his face. And the music was perfect. It was like the Cybertruck theme, basically. You say tomato, we say pomodoro. Oh, it was cute. I don't
It
know how much
is.
overlap there is between their customer base.
Yeah, I think. Well, we've said this. We know that the Cybertruck is a divisive in its appearance, and
Yeah,
so this shows the massive contrast between those two things.
it does.
Yeah, and if you hate the Cybertruck, then maybe this will get your attention and go, "Oh, this is much better." I think people who really dislike the Cybertruck are more likely to like this vehicle. So maybe
Yeah.
maybe it's not a bad move.
Well, my dad really likes the Chevrolet. I keep telling him there's like 20 GMCs around the corner from the house, but I don't think he wants to pay the premium for the GMC.
Right.
He just
But
ignores me when I bring it up.
anytime you can, gin up a controversy, it gets people talking about it. I mean, the old beer commercial, "Great taste, less filling," that they
Uh,
were, arguing about two characteristics of the same product, which is nice because that business wins either way. So
yeah,
here they know that the Cybertruck gets a lot more attention than they do, so they're trying to ride some coattails.
fair enough. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. And Tesla finally gets a TV ad.
Paid for by
Paid for
somebody
by
else.
somebody else. So next, I don't know what this is either. I was pointing out that because I was getting stuff ready, I never did go back and find out what everything was and put the notes in the notes. So they're all a bit of a mystery as I click on them. I know they're related, but I don't know what they are. So Autoline says that BMW will launch its first hydrogen-powered fuel cell EV in 2028. I feel like that's not true because
Yeah.
I rode I drove a BMW uh, hydrogen car, and it wasn't the combustor; it was a fuel cell.
Hmm.
I want to say right after or right before it, I drove the Mercedes A class, or B class, the van looking like the original Honda Odyssey with the doors instead of the sliders. The original US Odyssey, I should say. Maybe first modern. There's some caveat missing about first fuel cell this is for them. And as Patrick and I just said, we disagree that it's their first. I'm sure they
Hmm.
could explain how it is, but I don't really care for the excuse. Uh, it will likely use a system from Toyota Corp, Motor Corp, but it's taken a long time to get to this point. Yeah, because they don't want to start getting money and losing it on this boondoggle. That's why. They know.
Hmm.
They know.
It is interesting. Germany and Japan are still the ones pushing this technology. There's something there, and I'm not sure quite what it is, but there must be government incentives for it
I
because
see what it
the
is.
automakers, if you do any projections for volume, they know this is never going to pay off.
Right.
So it's a big R&D effort, and if you're getting government subsidies for R&D, maybe that's worth it. But I
Oh yeah,
can't
you
think
could
of any
you
other
could use
reason.
that for your electric motor stuff. Do the
Right.
nominal fuel cell, dump that
Hmm.
garbage, and now you've already got a leapfrog in your motors and batteries.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I would do that if I was them.
Yeah, if you could get them to pay for your development and then drop the fuel cell stuff and throw in 80 kilowatt hours of batteries and have a decent vehicle, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty smart. Hyundai, I think that's exactly what Hyundai is doing because they do the bare minimum on their fuel cells, which I think is the smart way to do it. Go ahead and collect your incentives, and then don't waste anybody's time on it. Whereas we were on the Toyota page looking for the BZ, is buried in there, and everything is
Hmm.
EV, and it's like none of these even have freaking plugs. You can't call them EVs without plugs. You can call them hybrids if you
Right.
want, but they're not EVs.
Right.
Except you can say the
Yeah.
Mirai
It,
kind of
yeah, it's like
is.
that electrified word.
Yeah,
Okay, that's not exactly the same. We're just using some marketing weasel words to try to get your
exactly.
attention.
Yeah, the Model T is electrified. The Magneto charges the battery to keep the thing going.
Right. Yes.
Electrified.
All cars have some electronics, even if it's the windshield wipers or the light, the
Right.
dome light.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, there's something. Yeah, because like those early ones, they didn't have anything, but they had electricity.
mhm.
All right, so this one is from Car Wow. I know what it is. Hopefully, not the John Cooper Works again. It is. So we're going to continue on. Uh,
So the Mirai, there was a so being into alt cars like we are, I follow a bunch of different stuff in various platforms, and there was a Shell station in California, a hydrogen station that shut down, and so like the six people that were using it were all hosed. It's like,
yeah.
okay, now the nearest station is 200 miles away. That's not going to work. What do I
Ah,
do with this car?
get rid of it.
Yeah, exactly.
How did that go for them?
Yeah, I don't know what the final result ever was,
Oh,
but
oh, this
yeah,
was as they discovered it. Nice.
yeah, exactly. It becomes a brick at that point. Unlike electricity, you can't just go to any
Make it at
outlet in
home.
a pinch.
Yeah, can't just make it at home. Or like
Right,
the society has collapsed. Somehow stuff is still running. You unplug the ice machine at a gas station, plug in your car.
right. Yeah, or a few solar panels and an inverter, if you have to.
Yes, yeah, because if society's gone, you can find one. Just go to some nerd's
Hmm.
house and take it out. Uh,
Exactly. Yeah.
the
Find an
redesign is
off-grid
meant to,
house.
yeah, the redesign is meant to evoke the cute old Citroen 2CV. This looks like the Citroen Ami has had a glow up. Yeah, that's what it says there. Redesigned Citroen Ami has a lot more eye catching. I mean, I hope that's not how it looks like a computer with unicorn vomit, uh, or that maybe these aren't LEDs but are just plastic. It looks like a YouTube thumbnail.
It does.
Interesting. Launched in 2020. The cool thing about the Ami was, depending on where you live, you could drive it as low as 14 years old um, in Europe.
Hmm.
And let's see if they've done to it this year. It's something created by Pixar. Oh no, this person thinks that. So fake slats on the front fenders. I mean, yeah. Well, it's a plastic car. Why would it need slats? Um, I'm looking for like numbers here, or like full shots of it not being in that. All right, so the lights look similar. The badging
Hmm.
is definitely much more prominent because I think last time it was just chrome. Interior is unchanged. That's disappointing. If you had one. You like some changes if you're gonna refresh, right?
Hmm.
All right. So yep, still young as 14, so they didn't break any of the laws there. Top speed is still 28 miles per hour, and you get a 0.5 kilowatt hour pack. So just like the original Prius plug-in, you get a full charge in under 4 hours on a regular wall outlet. Charging power is limited to 3.6 kilowatts. So actually, faster than that because you guys have 240 everywhere. Yeah, so less than 4 hours. Am I good at this or what? Oh, I see the fake slats are right here. The question now on this one is okay. So this is still one piece. The doors open opposite directions because they're the same door. I was going to ask if
Oh.
the vent was also, but I see this all on one piece of plastic, so the vents will still be both on the front. But one opens traditional, and the other opens reverse hinged, which is fun.
Yeah.
Can we look at more pictures without making them big? Yes, we can. Okay. Uh, there were no others. Here's that one that was for a little while, the like off-roady doorless one. That was cool. Two of them. Well, no, that was a Fiat. There's the Ami, and then they had the off-road Ami that was like double the price and sold out instantly. Uh, as a beach car, I think that would have been awesome. And that's probably why it sold out so fast, even though it was double the price. Because
Hmm.
people who can afford to take a whole car to the beach, they tend to have the Lexus scratch, like a dune buggy situation. Uh, And the no doors is just nice. You're already at the beach. Why not enjoy the salt air coming through? So this one was unexpected. It's Honda, the Prologue, even though it's just a Chevy Blazer underneath, essentially. Uh, they're doing very well. So what I kept saying in my previous musings to Toyota about how if they would just do something that people are interested in, they might sell. And then they came out with something where the wheels fell off for 6 months. Instead, uh, Honda just took a shortcut and they partnered up with GM and had most of a car ready. They had to massage the sheet metal and the interior and but it's a nice head start doing it the way they did it. Although I'm not even
Mm-hmm.
sure that it's not just a rejected version of what Chevy. They said, "Oh, let's do some stuff." That's not really our style. It's a little too bland. I said, "Okay, put that on the shelf." Oh, we'll take it. Put the H on the front. Um, but the subhead is: it turns out people really wanted good electric cars from Honda. The 296-mile Prologue is doing it for them. Who knew? If you build it, they'll come, right?
Yeah, this actually looks like 296 miles is decent range, and this, as we know, the SUV compact SUV size style is popular. So that looks like a winner.
So Cox Automotive, they own a bunch of dealerships, so it gives them unique um, insight into the industry because they're just a large conglomerate. So the third quarter said data from Cox says some interesting trend lines. Where are the numbers? You're doing all this intro. All right, so according to what they were able to pull from their sources, we saw Model Y at quarter three V6 801. Remember that Tesla just gives us 3 and Y, everything else. So this is probably pulling from like state registration data and stuff like that. And so Model Y for quarter three was 86,801 for this year, 95 for last year. And Model 3 was lower because sedans are less popular here at 58. Although it went up from last year, whereas the Model Y went down from last year. That's interesting. Cybertruck just started at 16,692. That's a cool number to see. The Ford Mustang Mach-E has been around for a little bit. It's doing 13,392. But look at this. Hot on their tail with just fresh entry. 12,644 for the Honda Prologue. Beating the Hyundai Ioniq 5, which is well established and very popular as well. So they just hit the ground running. I think they might have a winner on their hands. If they do what they say they're going to do and start doing some of their own stuff instead of rebadges.
I don't blame them for rebadges.
I don't blame them at all. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Versus
exactly.
nothing or being a 100-year-old company where the wheels fall off.
Right. Toyota, there's got to be a story behind that we don't know, because they were doing something to limit
There's something else, yeah. Part of it for sure was the hidden airbag recall. They were able to just slide in there because all the cars were already on a stop set. But how long was it? Was it 8 months? 6 months?
Yeah, way too long.
Yeah. Even if they said, "Oh, bolts are hard to come by," I mean, in every country we operate, they have machinists. You could get the bolts handmade in less time than that.
Right, and this is not something that had to be unique on that vehicle. You could say,
didn't have to
"Oh,
be, but it
higher torque."
was.
Yeah.
Their excuse was normally the bolts are an Audi, and so you put a socket on top to get them. And these bolts were innies. I forget the correct term for all of these, but instead of the regular lug nuts where you just put and it's just done, these ones you had to have like a giant Allen key basically, and that is still no excuse for why the wheels were falling off. It's literally just the difference in how you wrench them on and off. The threads still work the same way.
Yeah, and Toyota makes trucks that tow and have high torque bolts, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they could have found a better way to do that. But like I said, there's got to be a backstory. We know that this is a very solvable problem, and I don't know why it seems like they wanted to limit sales of their EV, and they succeeded with a bunch of excuses.
They did. Maybe they didn't want it to outshine the Mirai.
Yeah.
This is the program for the people who are successful. You can't be the new upstarts and beat them or something.
Right. Yeah, they had an internal mantra that EVs don't sell very well, so they wanted to prove themselves right by
Yeah,
sabotaging their own plan.
yeah. I like that this doesn't even look that much like the Blazer. You have to like kind of squint to see it. Oh, but they are. And then the interior is nice too, but it's very Chevy interior with a Honda badge on it. So a little Honda touches and a little Chevy touches. It's weird. Very similar to the Ford Explorer in Europe, um, and that is very much Volkswagen. But then it's got a lot of Ford touches all over it. Kind of weird, you know.
Hmm.
I do like that they toned down all the buttons from the Chevy though. Still a lot of them, but oof, at least it doesn't look like a Cadillac 747. Excuse me. So yeah, this is pretty cool, and glad to see that they're doing successful. Doing that they are successfully uh, having a successful launch. There we go. I see Control me close and find my cursor. There we are. Spin it, don't spin. We've got a one from Electrek. What are we looking at today? Xpeng has unveiled the P7 Plus in Paris alongside pre-sale pricing, and they stress their commitment to Europe. We've got European customers, so let's the European viewers. Let's see what these European customers of EVs can look at. That my dad was telling me about this when it caught his eye. He's like, "This looks sharp," and it does. So I do have to point out that Xpeng has been accused of stealing Autopilot 1 and 2. That's another way to get started. Easy is to just take one that works and build on it. Hawkeye AI visual solution. So the thing we're gonna look at with this one is you guys have got like a massive tariff on it, so they have to really get the price down to make it cost competitive with what's already available in your markets. But it will have over-the-air updates. Space for 33 carry-on suitcases with the seats folded down. Is it a van? This is the airport lost and found car. 800 volts silicon carbide charging from Xpeng G9 and G6. Ultra fast charging and energy consumption of 11.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Interesting. All right. And just 29.6. There we go. So that's going to make up for all the tariffs. They're probably going to push it to the 50s. In China, it's the same price as a Model 3, which makes sense. Oh wow, they have kept their photocopiers running. Look at that! Look at that rear console. All right, how do I mute this thing? There. Okay. Just because I don't know with the audio, I don't know what's coming through from the video. Oh,
The stuff I'm seeing on the internal stream is stuck on the prologue still, so I'm gonna have to watch the YouTube stream to see what you're talking about. But that's like 10 seconds delayed, so it's harder to follow.
I understand. This one is beautiful. They have, I mean, they've definitely continued to copy, but they also let me update the source here. 2 copies of my face. Hopefully that unlocks it. It looks like they smushed a bunch of the popular cars together. You had Lucid and a lot of Tesla and Hyundai and Kia. I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, it works. And at 25, 29, what do we say? It's going to be like 60 here. Whenever they decide to have a Chinese car here.
Yeah, the styling for the Chinese vehicles has gotten so much better in the last few years.
Oh yes. Oh, did you see
Yes,
the turquoise? They copied that from the Mercedes. The turquoise
ooh.
meant that it's on autonomous mode of some sort. At
Is
least
that
it
was
does
a
on.
exterior light?
Yeah, yeah. At least that's what it
Hmm.
means on the Mercedes here. I don't know if it means that anywhere else, but I would imagine if you're copying, you would copy the whole thing, right?
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing that you would want to standardize. You wouldn't want every vehicle manufacturer to do their own indicator that's
Suck.
different.
It means it's red. That means I can merge, right? No, no, red means auto drive.
Exactly. That's only going to cause confusion.
Mhm. So what I'm hoping there is that China has just copied that standard. Mercedes said, "Hey, this is what we're doing in Arizona. Do you mind if we do it there?" And they said, "Yeah, that makes sense. Now you know why the guy's acting weird beside you." Um, there's one I wanted to, but it's at the bottom, and if I do that, I'll lose where I am. There's a Model 3 driving the other day. What if I do this? I can put a mark. Uh, there we go. I put a mark next to it. I don't want to do it that way because I might need the article later. Space. There we go. There's a Model 3 running around this weekend that we saw. I should obviously not have to say don't do this, but don't do this. Model 3 spotted driving down the highway with the windows and windshield covered. Both the passenger and driver side windows were covered with some sort of covering, and the front still had the sunshades up. Don't do this. I wonder if they've imported the video there. Autopilot for 24 hours. Nope. And I don't have a way for Patrick to share the video. So that would obviously fail him out because the eye tracking would see that his eyes are not open. What if we do car scoops? Okay, there we go. They imported the video. Yes, they did. Good. So now I want the audio to come through. Okay. Now I want the audio to come through. So let me find that thing and unmute it. I think I click here. No, that's face. Cable. There we go. And I turn the audio from the desktop into the cable. That's the display. Don't change my display. I'm looking good. Sound desk. It's called Sound Desk Virtual Cable. There we go. All right, so they've noticed this guy for long enough that she was able to get her camera up.
Left side, including the entire.
He has his sun shield up.
And then he has his sun.
This is like
Yeah,
the
I'm
back
trying to get his.
It's just an
Yeah,
idiot.
I'm trying to get his license plate.
It's
He's coming. He's coming out.
not good. It's only going to set autonomy back, regardless of the manufacturer. These people
but worse
deserve
than the back,
tickets.
actually managed to at least see the road and jump to the front if something came up.
We get the plate.
Don't defend the guy, Kacey.
I'm not defending him. I'm just saying this is even worse.
But some things you don't.
I thought I saw brake lights. So that means that autopilot was reacting to. Yeah, it was reacting to the person in front of them. And here, so we see that the sunshade is on. And then, is that newspaper? It looks like newspaper.
What?
What the hell? Why? What?
Oh, on the sides.
It looked like tape on my first go through. I'm like, that's a lot of tape on the window, but that's newsprint. And the the camera can probably see the windows, but it cannot see what's going on with the windshield because it's
Yeah,
bonded
this
to the
is reckless
glass.
endangerment.
It
This,
is.
yeah,
Take his
this
license,
deserves
throw away
more
the
than
key.
just a ticket.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The good thing is they audibly call out his license, and the news organization that first reported this was able to use their credentials to find out exactly where it was registered. So I have a feeling that somebody's getting a little knock knock this
Hmm.
week. Hopefully, it's more than just a little knock knock. That is unacceptable.
Yes.
I'm gesturing at the screen.
Yeah,
So
the weird thing is, as autonomous improves, that it leaves more room for abuse. But
yes,
we're not at a state right now where the vehicle can just be completely unsupervised. So this is, like I said, reckless endangerment.
that it is, and uh, as we said about the Tesla, they're going to pursue their licenses in Texas and California first. California they've already got, so it'd be easy enough to expand. Texas they'll have to convince them to do more. The Tesla Cybertruck is the U.S.'s third best-selling EV in Q3, behind the Model 3 and Model Y. So they continue to have the 1, 2, 3 finish, but I would not have expected Cybertruck to be the third one.
Yeah.
Given that it's more expensive than S and X, but it probably also builds more than them. That's incredible.
Yeah, and there was pent-up demand for the
Oh yes,
Cybertruck.
yeah.
Hmm.
Less than a year in, 11 months, and now not only were people on the reservation list able to get the dual motor, the non-foundation, the folks who weren't in line are now able to also put in an order for the non-foundation dual motor. I think we'll see that continue on for a while, and then at some point they will introduce the rear-wheel drive when it's profitable to do so, and at that point, I, I think that the others are in danger at that point because that price is so low. Like as it is, it's already competing with gas and diesel trucks of a similar capacity. It's already the best-selling EV pickup truck, and then when you can get people coming from combustion if they don't need long-range towing, I think even before that, when they add the range extender for the people who do want long-range towing, this is going to shake up the market a little bit. I mean, people talk about how it
Hmm.
looks, but we also made fun of the Prius, and everybody offers a hybrid now on everything. Assuming they're not pure EV, like Tesla, Rivian, and Lucid, Polestar. In fact, Polestar started with a hybrid, so yeah. Congrats to Tesla on that one. Then we have, and I'd have one of them. They're fun little golf carts. Oh, we were talking about the Fiat Pomodoro ad again. Like I said, I didn't massage the list. I try to keep them together. I don't even think there's a recall this week. There's something like the recall segment, but it's not. Peugeot 408 EV makes world premiere at the 2024 Paris Auto Show. Completes their EV lineup with the 408, 281 miles of range, and a 58 kilowatt hour battery. That sounds like some European measuring right there. 58 kilowatts and 281 miles of range. Sounds like they just did a convert kilometers to miles, leave the test the way it is. This 58 is not going to get you that much. Not in real life. Stellantis brand completes their 100% lineup, so they're not getting cut. Remember, Stellantis did put a warning out that if you don't have a reasonable amount of EVs, they will cut your brand. And it looks like they did it. Congrats to them. We'll see when it gets on the road and people test it out. Got this one from Electric. We're looking at worrying signs point to the potential bankruptcy of a major electric motorcycle maker. That's unfortunate. Which one are we looking at today? I didn't recognize the. I'm sorry. Who would this be? Energica. That's unfortunate. They're considered the Ducati of e-motorcycles. This is a sad reality of standalone EV manufacturers. The likelihood that they survive long term is exceptionally low, and I commend the brave entrepreneurs that take on this incredibly high risk to make our world a little cleaner, a little quieter, one product at a time. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the end of an era, and this is not what we like to see. We like to see more of them coming in, but it is a reality of this industry. Hyundai wants to develop leading 300 watt-hours per kilogram LFP batteries for affordable EVs. Do it. The cool thing about when we see Hyundai and Cattle and Tesla talking about battery tech, we don't have to worry about if it's some pie in the sky in the lab or even worse, just on paper situation. These are all companies that tend to follow through. So we know in a couple months to a couple years, these things will be showing up, unlike the 20 years of Tesla's solid-state battery. Toyota's solid-state battery. I'm sure Tesla's also working on solid-state battery, but until they get closer, they're not going to bother making press releases about it. Mexico aims to produce their local EV production. President Claudia Sheinbaum has shared plans to develop Mexico's local EV supply chain, reducing their reliance on imports, and Mexico aims to produce their own compact EV and grow the lithium industry. Do it, because right now people are just pushing you around from China and the US, Canada. You're a country. Do your thing. And more EVs, the better. I mean, who's better to handle the local differences than people who live there? They know what the people want. Yeah. Although I'm curious if that Baser Model 3 will show up anywhere else now that they have been trying it in Mexico. Australia to trial powering homes with EVs. A Nissan Leaf and bidirectional charger will be used for the trial, because that's the only commercially available kit is the Chatamo home to grid kit. I mean, there are others right now, like you've got Tesla PowerShare and you've got like the Chevrolet thing, but those are more expensive for people running experiments, and not in Australia for one. I'm surprised that kit got rolled back out. That's pretty cool to see.
How big is the battery in a Nissan Leaf?
I think you can get up to 60 kilowatt hours these years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So initially it was a lot less, right? So it was 20 something. So yeah, but with 60 kilowatt hours, that's a decent. That's more than a few power walls.
Yeah, especially if you're not going to drive it. So that's 3 times what I've got in my garage. So not bad.
Right, and just like you said, if you want to drive it, maybe you don't want to use all of it for your house. Maybe you want to keep some reserve, so you could get somewhere if you need to.
I get one of those ones that's not good to drive anymore. It's my portable power wall.
Yeah, that actually might not be. So you can pick up used Nissan Leafs for pretty cheap. So that might end up being a great use for it. And stationary driving is hard on a battery pack with all the stopping and going, and whereas using it for your house is much more of a steady state. So it could work out. That's a great way to pick up several power walls worth of capacity by buying a used Leaf.
It's not only is it steady state. You're looking at typically 100 to 200 amps for a U.S. household, as much as 400 amps, and that's it. I mean, even the Leaf was doing more than that just to start and stop. So
yes, exactly.
It's positively in the retirement home at that point.
Right. It's a much easier workload. A house is a much easier workload.
Yeah. Can't overstate the challenge for legacy autos making the ICE V to EV transition. The technologies have remarkably little in common. It will take massive investments in software and batteries, or a widespread licensing solution for them to catch up to pure EV plays. AKA, look at what Honda did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Bloomberg is saying that owners had to send their cars to dealerships for in-store upgrades, which could take at times to take days. Yeah, because the service departments everywhere have been open in the last 5 years. To overcome resistance, some dealers offered cash incentives to encourage customers to fix faults. You got to pay them to come in to fix their car? How bad is your service department?
Yeah, I told you my horrible experience with my Leaf when I first got it. There was a software update, and the dealership said you have to bring it in to do it. And I was like, fine. So I bring it in. And then I get there for my scheduled appointment, and they say, oh, we're downloading the software now. It's going kind of slow. It looks like it's going to be an hour before we even have the software and can start. So wait a minute. I have a scheduled
You guys coming
appointment.
for a month.
Yeah, you could have
Don't get
downloaded that
that.
last night. Yeah, you're only now starting to download it and now realizing that it's slow. Come on, this could have all been an over-the-air update.
Right, especially if you already know like you have other cars, you know your internet is slow, and
Yes.
you've got an appointment, and it's one that you've never downloaded before, so you can't even expect that it's in the computer already. So it's not like
Yes.
somebody came through with a Sentra or an Altima. And you're like, oh, whoops, we didn't download this month's update. No, it's a
The pain
Leaf.
of being an early adopter.
Yeah. So Zhao, being an IT engineer living in, had to endure the frustration after buying an ID4 in early 2022. Oh, that was a saga. With screens going black several times in the middle of driving, he got glitches instead of German quality. Updates were also regularly behind schedule or only available via the dealer, which is why they partnered with Rivian to learn a thing or two. He's now
Mhm.
seeking a replacement. It will be another EV, but this time I won't visit any German dealerships. I'll only go for local brands or Tesla. Wow. They didn't just ruin their own brand. They ruined their whole country. A couple of comedians have a concept of that, but they are not fit for this show. But going for your nation, you got to stand out, and they did not. Wow.
Right, but yeah, there's a reason that Tesla's. If someone says they want to buy an EV and they don't know which one, Tesla's the right answer. They have the software updates dialed in ever since 2012. So it's been over a decade, and other manufacturers haven't caught up in that space. They've got the charging network. I mean, they've got the performance. If you're into that, I mean, so yeah, what is it that you need in an EV? They've got it.
That's why whenever somebody asks me what they should do, first thing I say is like, hey, no matter what your stances are on things and what's going on, you will not be upset by picking Tesla as your first one. That's not to say they don't have units that are lemons, they don't have service centers that are terrible, but on the whole, I'm not going to regret telling you to get a Tesla, a new one, over anything else. But if you tell me, hey, my politics are this, or I just don't like the guy, or um, for some reason I can't convince you that it's an American company, even though they're totally American, then I'll say, okay, let's look at these other ones. But I don't want to hear it if you had to come in for a software update. That's and that's not to say that Teslas never need to come in for software updates. Mine right now, the battery and the BMS don't agree that they belong together, and so I've got them coming in to replug in the Falcon Wing sensor. And I said, just have the technician plug the laptop in and see if he can get them to handshake again, because I don't want to go drive for something like this if it doesn't require to bring the battery down. Why they didn't put it together, I don't know.
My local service center has been great. So
Yeah.
I guess I have one of the good ones, because I've seen some horror stories and I'm like, wow, that's just not how they treat me here at all.
I had one that was very, very middling. And then they opened up one, and then this year another one nearby. And you could see, as the people were no longer crushed under overwork, the quality started to come back up.
Yeah, that is definitely a factor.
It is. But the three near me, they have been, other than getting the appointment, they've been good to me. So again, the other part of it is they just rarely need to be brought in. Like one time my air conditioner went out and a software update fixed it. I didn't have to bring it in. I was like, this is good. It wasn't comfortable at the time though, because you got the helicopter window, the black paint. But that was only 2 days, and then the update came in. Like I was the first one with that version. Like they must have, like the engineer must have seen something and said, "Here, uncook you." So yeah, so it's like nobody ever lost their job for recommending IBM or Xerox, right? Well,
Yes,
that's my
exactly.
first recommendation of a car is to be a Tesla. Not to say that I don't look at the others, not to say the others aren't good, but I don't have to feel bad or like I hope it goes all right. I hope they don't have to need Electrify America because I know the
Right.
superchargers work. This is supercharger.com. I finally updated the site, so now I can actually put some more content on it. I
Oh,
was
cool.
hesitant to do stuff with it because I was on a beta build and there was no path to get back. And they're like, "Oh, you need to copy the site over here to one that's not in beta, and then restore your backups." But I had two blogs, so I couldn't. I had to pick one, and so one of them is Tesla Life audio stream. So I didn't want to lose that because we've already got a lot of stuff on there. And the
Right.
other one was mine, which goes back to past 2006. So I didn't want to have to like redate everything, and like the comments, they don't have comments the way they used to anymore, so they would have been gone. So I was like, eh. But they offered a conversion for people on the last model to go to the current model, and so I was like, let me clicked around a little bit. I found a way to get from the beta to the old version, and then I was like, okay, good. And I made it look good because I didn't know how long it would take or if I'd be stuck on the old version. And then I found the modules I needed to be eligible for conversion. I converted it to the current model. And so now I don't have to redo the site to keep it live. So that's fun.
Nice.
Mr. All Electric Car Lunacy says, sad to see the parent company have trouble. They own the electric tractor company too. Oh man. I hope that this doesn't mess with the tractor company because there are not enough of those. There are already very few electric motorcycles, but we can get around that. But electric tractors are, we got John Deere and a couple others, but I think that they were more affordable, right? And Robert's on Facebook says hello. Hi, Robert. I got a couple messages I got to check out. Every time I go to your messages, baby comes streaming in the room, and so I haven't had a chance to catch up yet. So Tesla and Uber could partner on the new Cybercab robotaxi deployment, says their Uber CEO. This I think is possible, but unlikely. But at the same time, just like their current, we talked about this 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, where in the Tesla app or in the Uber app, you accept a ride, and if your car is already linked up to their fleet program, where it tells you if you can even have enough range to do the trip, it will use that to push the map into your car. And I said that the benefit for Tesla for that is they can automatically be classed as rideshare. So it's a little different training that they can focus on with Dojo. This would just be more of that. They would learn more pickups and drop offs, and eventually Uber could just operate a fleet or however they want to work this thing. But Tesla would take their 30% VIG, and who cares about the rest of it, right? As long as the customers are happy.
I'm not sure what Uber really brings to this. Well, okay, so say for example,
customer-based app.
Yeah, if this allows Tesla to put out a small number of vehicles in a market that Uber's already serving, and because if you're going to deploy a rideshare network, you have to have a lot of vehicles so that people can get a ride when they want it. You don't want to be waiting half an hour for. So that's one nice thing is if they partner with Uber, they get that leverage.
Yeah. Oh, I lost the mouse. I hovered over the button and it got stuck. Come back. Oh, now stuff is spinning. There we go. So yeah, I mean, we'll have to watch this. I don't put a lot of stock into it right now. What is going on with this mouse? I think we got it. Yes. Yes. All right. So I've never had to be that careful with the buttons with Teslarati before. I've seen them take the mouse before, but only in the browser. That one took it from everywhere. So this one, special guest at Giga Berlin. I think I'm gonna leave it mute. It does music. This is Tesla Semi. They have captions available. Sometimes they do. Yeah. Can I restart it without music? No, I can't. Let's. Oh, okay. I've got the music muted at the microphone. That's good. So they've announced that they're going to build this thing on every continent.
Yeah, that's great.
Obviously, Australia, Africa, and Antarctica are quite a ways to come, and I don't think Antarctica's ever coming. But
Yeah, yeah. So maybe every continent's a bit of a hyperbole.
every continent where they operate, let's put it that way.
Yes.
This is exciting because when you look at the chart of where all the emissions come from, you've got ships and shipping. So the trucks are going to make a huge dent in the situation,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't wait to see it. Sawyer says something. Obviously, the Tesla Cybercab with 4680 cells, same batteries, cameras, and computers. Took a segment out. Where do they go? On a BMS. In the butt. So that confirms that Optimus is running 4680s. Not just
I
21.
did not. So is Sawyer Merritt reporting that the Cybercab will use 4680s?
Also that.
Because if they're doing LFP, I assume, and I did not. I thought those were prismatic packs. I didn't think or pouch. I didn't think they were 4680s for LFP.
I don't think Tesla has any pouches, but they definitely are using prismatics for Powerwall and the old outgoing. I say old. The outgoing 2 weeks ago Model 3 standard range. But they were prismatic, not 4680s. So yeah, you have a point there.
So yeah, I mean this vehicle's not out yet, so I mean a lot can change. But I like this ad just because it's promoting their 4680, their new Cybercab, and Optimus
all at once.
Yeah.
My scroll reverser has broken itself because of whatever Testerati did. Let me. I say Testerati. It's Discuss. The comment bot. So we'll turn off scroll reverse, turn it on, and hope it scrolls. And if it doesn't, we can quit. Okay, there we go. Good. I was gonna say we could quit and start, and if it still doesn't work, we'll just ignore it until the end of the show. There's a bunch of cool stuff today that I just want to just like tap on like this, where it didn't require like a whole article. And let's see what we've got next. And this one from Electra.
Yeah, my video is still for you is still showing the Honda Prologue, which is why I didn't know what you were talking about with Cider until it popped up later, so I sounded like a idiot.
Let me turn off my feedback and then turn it back on, and maybe that will fix it. So what are we sending to you? We'll send nothing. And then it went away, right?
Yep, it went away.
Okay, and then we'll turn on the window capture. Hopefully it's not still the Prologue.
No, FSD transfers to China.
Okay, cool. So as we talked about on the Tesla Life show at some point, I don't know if we talked about it on Monday, Friday, or Wednesday. FSD is a lever that that they pull in the States, and now they're pulling it in China. I wasn't going to click in for the details, but I bet you it's through the end of the year, just like it is here.
I didn't know that they had been selling FSD in China.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously they have, otherwise there'd be nothing to transfer.
But they've been selling it worldwide. But I think in China you actually get something of it, similar to here. They are running into some challenges moving to the next level, but I have a feeling they'll be able to get through them just fine. So let's see, through December 31st. So it's the same basic program they're running here. 3S, X, or Y. They don't offer the Cybertruck there, so that's nothing to worry about. Although they've driven it there. And let's see. This one's coming from us, the Tesla Life, so that's probably Patrick's posting. I lose track when it's Patrick or Mark posting. Tesla has approved stage.
Yeah, if it's on X, it's Mark.
Oh, okay. You do the Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay. Tesla has approved for stage 1 of the Gigafactory Berlin expansion plans, And there we go. So take that, cardboard forest protesters living in the tree houses for the trees you want to protect so badly. And for those who aren't aware, the cardboard forest is a tree plantation that is on the site of the factory. It's full of old World War II munitions, bombs, and bullets and stuff. And there have been people trying to protect these cardboard trees. Tesla has already committed to and proven and shown that they are planting 4 times, like every tree they cut down, they're putting 4 more native German trees elsewhere in Germany to make up for the space that they're clearing. So find something else to protest or audit them. Make sure they're still doing what they say. That would be more useful than what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to protest a car company, how about one that, I don't know, it's something called Dieselgate happen?
Or if you want to keep it not local, then how about one that's, trying to tell you that it's electrified and it's not.
Yeah. There are better targets for environmental outrage than Tesla.
Yes. And for the folks that are complaining that they're overutilizing the sewer, I think your problem is with the sewer department and not Tesla. Because what's going through the sewer pipes is the same stuff that any office or household is putting through the sewer pipes. You've got
same number of people.
Same number of people. You've got what's coming from the kitchens and what's coming from the restrooms. Everything else, anything industrial, is going through its own internal treatment plant at the factory and then ends up in the lawns at the plant because it's been so treated that it's safe to water their grass with it. That's all.
Gray water reuse. That's great.
Yeah. I wonder if that also gives them practice for SpaceX for water recycling. Because, everything they seem to do seems to get back to getting us to Mars.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Exactly.
That's a good, yeah.
Because even the boring company, we're going to need to be able to get underground to get away from the radiation. So.
Yep.
Also, if you have a sealed tunnel, we can maybe walk around without spacesuits. Maybe. Stellantis Leap Motor has unveiled the B10 SUV to be sold globally and priced between $14,000 and $21,000. Oh man, they're making these compelling cars for under $30,000. I think that they don't care about our tariffs. Canada, China, or Canada, Europe, and the US. They don't care. All right, we'll make a good car, and we'll be there. Be ready.
Stellantis already has so many brands now. So Leap Motor is a startup. Out of where?
It looks like China.
Where are they from?
Yeah. Let's see. Unveiled their latest model in Paris before it goes on sale globally at a price starting between $14,000 and $21,000. The BEV from Zhejiang Leap Motor Technology. Yep, so China for sure. Better known as just Leap Motor, is publicly traded EV automaker in China, founded in 2015. Well, they're not that much of a startup. They've been around for 10 years.
Okay.
I mean, that's still young, but
yeah,
I imagine they get a certain level of head start over there than they do here, trying to get with an auto brand. The joint venture was approved as Leap Motor International, giving Stellantis exclusive rights to buy and build its partner EVs outside of China. If they can do it for the same price, that is just end arounded the tariffs, assuming they use non-Chinese parts. Depending on how everybody's tariff was worded, I always said they were just going to jump into Mexico and then go from there because Mexico has agreements with everybody. But
yeah, that seems like the smart way to go.
Do it at home. That gets rid of even having to ship it to and from Mexico. Clever. I mean, I don't know if I agree with trying to get around the tariffs, but like when you just make it so cheap that it doesn't even matter.
Right.
Wow. Like with a gas car, where if you make it that cheap, like where it's a death trap or where it's not going to be reliable. Like, these are still electric motors and batteries, and that leaves you all the rest of that money to put together to make sure the body is crash safe and solid.
Yeah, that's one thing I would definitely want to see is crash test results from, if it's a company that I've never heard of, or and if they're new to the U.S. market, I want to see them pass our crash tests.
Absolutely. Because nothing wrong with European crash tests, but I want to see that they didn't change anything on the way over here.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a possibility. So Tesla has trademarked Robo-Bus and Robo-Taxi. So
But
Robovan,
not Robovin?
right? So Robovan is not going to be a thing. But the Robo-Bus. He should have said that. That is a thing. And so is Robo-Taxi. And I don't imagine this is any longer just a the Robo-Taxi. There was no way they were not going to try that. But the Robo-Bus, you could say, oh, it's just for show. It's just to get eyeballs. But I don't know that you go through the Tesla and SpaceX and all of them seem to hate paperwork. So I don't see them doing all of this if they don't have an intent.
You have to say it right, Kacey. It's Robob us.
Robo-Bus. Yes. I still want to get my hands on that van, even if it's fully autonomous. I'd like the cargo version for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how the trademark stuff's going to play out, but the interesting thing is, if the trademark office denies it and says robotaxis in common parlance and you can't have it, then that is still a win, because that means that no one can block Tesla from using it.
True, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Who is using it so far? I mean, it's not like Kleenex. You have toys.
I don't know. Robotaxi has a history of use that, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out through the.
We shall see. Yeah, they do use a lot of generics, like even autopilot and full self-drive are technically generics, although they got them somehow. So Velocity Chicken says the van was designed specifically not to fit in a boring tunnel. I think that you read it wrong there, because they didn't say that it was, and they didn't say that it didn't. Every time anybody asked if it fit in the tunnel, Franz and Wes and everybody else was just kind of maybe. So I don't see that conclusion that it's designed not to fit in the tunnel.
Yeah, they wouldn't design it not to. They might design it without that consideration, but that's not saying we want to design it so it will not fit.
Take that, Vegas.
Yeah, this is it's so early. I mean, these are concepts at this point, and they'll make a lot of tweaks. If you can't put down an order for it, it's still in concept. And even if you can't put down an order, sometimes changes happen. We saw like the shortening of the front end of the Cybertruck was a big deal. Yeah.
That was exactly where I was going with it. With Cybertruck, it's smaller than it used to be, and so there's nothing to say that this won't. Let's see. We need to taper in at the bottom to fit the tunnel, and by the looks of it, we need to shrink about 20% in width and height. I'm not sure where he's measuring these from, but again, as Patrick was just saying, it's still early yet, and like I suspected that he said 20. The thing has 14 chairs and no handrails. They probably have at least a medium and a large. If they have that, there's nothing saying that they won't have a small. Or that it just won't do the that part of the Vegas loop, because everything else so far has been like longer, straighter. We'll have a little bit more on the boring tunnel later on, but longer, straighter, and they can make this happen even if it doesn't work on the convention center.
Exactly.
Although it would be perfect on the convention center because everybody's going to the same place.
Yeah, and maybe there's certain legs of it, like to and from the airport, you have a nice long straight shot or something where this does work, but then they bring you to a station and load, and you have to take cars from there for the final mile or whatever.
Exactly. And then as Mark showed us, it's got a frunk and a large trunk. I said that backwards. A trunk and a large frunk. And there could be any number of ways this thing goes.
Yeah. I really hope they make it so it can just drive in either direction also, especially that's perfect for yeah. Why bother doing a 3-point turn or whatever? Just have it, now we're going this way.
Yeah. I mean, because if they make it so that the taillights are able to be bright as headlights and the headlights are able to glow red. And,
Right.
and whatever is considered the front has amber turn signals, then it's already set in the U.S. And then if they make them all three colors, amber, red, and white, then they're worldwide ready. Unless there's a law that
Right.
says that at the front.
Yeah, and then you just use, whichever direction you're going, you turn on those headlights and the red lights, tail lights on the other end, and
Yep.
yeah, it's doable.
GM's new tactical defense vehicle is a diesel extended range EV, and this is what I've been saying is a good use for fuel cells and plug-in hybrids. As you already know, I don't fault you for getting a plug-in hybrid if it works for you, but I do fault the manufacturers for making them in the first place. Here's a case where I think it makes sense, because now you've got, no matter what the theater is, you've got the fuel ready to go. You can charge it off a fuel cell, you can charge it off of battery, off of solar, you can dump some liquid fuel into it, whatever is needed, and then you can go stealth when you're getting ready to do a covert op, or you can just run the diesel clanger if you got a long run to do. So it's like a modern version of the Via trucks.
Yeah, are there any stats, like what's the battery capacity, or?
Yeah. So it's based on the Silverado 2500 HD, has a 12 module battery pack, but 2 electric motors. So similar to the Ram Charger 100, but 2500 instead of 1500. Gas powered V6 engine to turn a generator. 12 module pack. I bet you they can customize that to their heart's content. Because look at your customer. It's called Silent Watch and Silent Drive are the 2 powertrain modes. I said you need stealth, so you can get at the bad guys without any fuel. Again, with the 12 module battery, they really love pointing that out. Presumably based on Ultium, which is dead. GM killed Ultium this week for some reason. It was a good brand name. Patrick and I were befuddled at that choice. 360-degree camera views and 5-point seatbelt. Good. I mean, it does look like just a tactical up stretch version of their pickup truck. But I'm guessing this is probably a prototype or concept, so why make a whole new one for that? According to the company, the military E-Rev uses less fuel than a conventionally powered truck. Smart. And it can take advantage
and with anytime you have something like this where you can run the gas or diesel motor as a generator, then you don't have to be responsive to the pedal needs. You can instead run it at optimal RPM, and then when the batteries are at the level you need, then you can shut it down. So you don't have to. So diesel engines are any fossil fuel engine is not very efficient, but they still have areas where they're less efficient and more efficient. So this allows them to run in that more efficient band.
Yeah. Joel says he doesn't have an issue with the plug-in hybrid, but getting similar federal credits is not right. Yeah, I agree with that. Thankfully, we've got a chart on that. Thankfully, generally, right now, they're not, but it'd be nice if they didn't even qualify. The EU has seen that plug-ins aren't plugged in much and are getting a lower fleet efficiency. Yeah, we've got all the stats on the Volt and a couple other corporate-type vehicles that were never plugged in correctly.
Right, the plug-in Prius.
Not to say that the individuals didn't, but on the fleets, they were just... It was like, why even bother? But one cool thing here about it being able to handle diesel is it also can handle the JP8, so you can just use the generic fleet fuel instead of having all these different logistics lines to get diesel and gasoline and all this various stuff. So same stuff you run your helicopter on, just pour it in the truck. Good to go.
That's handy.
So that will be good to see. Not a Tesla app, not a Tesla app has everything we know about the Robus. The Robabus. Let's see. So you got the exteriors, Art Deco, 1950 style. It's painted aluminum, just like the Cybercab, mixed with glass. Interesting. And glasses in the windows, not mixed with glass in the shell.
And then the paint.
Yeah. Is it sparkles?
That's a whole new paint technique I haven't heard.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's got super low ground clearance, but Elon told us it's got the same smart air suspension as S and X, or based on it, I should say. The feature is likely to make its way to FSD in the future. This is somebody's concept. I don't know if somebody did this or if Tesla did this, showing it as a Tesla service vehicle and changing your tire as roadside assistance.
No.
Yeah. The interior, it says it's able to seat up to 20, but like I said, we've seen 14. I just like the way it looks inside too. It's like it's spacious and airy. And
yeah, without the front window, it seemed like it would be
darker.
You know, but it didn't. When they showed the views from inside, it's like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah, and then of course you can put stuff on that screen too. Let's see, beyond the delivery capacity, storage front and rear. So the delivery capacity, I'm assuming, is if used as a cargo van. The frunk is more capacity than the trunk. Here is the frunk. You can tell because the lights are white. And here's the trunk. You can tell because the lights are red. Looks like 2 suitcases on end versus a whole smattering of them. But thinking back on this now, though, it makes more sense. If this thing's pulling into a boring tunnel or pulling into the airport or anything like that, it's going to nose in as it drops off the people. So that will be the most protected side of the vehicle versus the rear, which might be sticking out traffic.
Yeah, I see.
Assuming it's not reversed, then that makes more sense.
I wonder if this would have four-wheel steering like the Cybertruck.
So.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to at this point. You've already got the tech.
And
it's so big that it would make it more maneuverable.
And that goes with I want it to be able to drive either way. Then you need to have a full steerability with both sides.
Yeah, with full range, not just the little bit that you get on the rear. Unless the FSD is just smart enough to handle a shopping cart versus or forklift versus automobile. Kia has an 80th anniversary, and they've celebrated with a Resto Mod birthday present to themselves. So they took this. What was the name of it again? They took the Kia Pride hatchback and put a pair of 10 kilowatt-hour batteries in it, and they can go 120 miles of range in this 20 kilowatt-hour ancient 80s automobile.
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess it could be 90s. I don't know if they ever sold it here. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. So this is powered by Kia Electrogenic. I'm surprised we don't have more retrofits, because there's plenty of old cars on the road that aren't, where the body's in good shape, and they could just drop that and I put in something useful like this. That was fun. It's not practical, but fun. So let's go back to our founders, and in Sweden, Tesla has lost against IF Metal in court. PostNord.
I haven't seen this.
Yeah, so PostNord is the provider who won the contract with the state to deliver the license plates, and so Tesla sued for them to have to deliver the plates, and
makes sense.
Yeah, and they lost. So what they've been doing, and probably will now have to continue doing, is they have blank plates and they just handwrite your number on it. You drive home and then you get your plate in the mail, and you put it on your car.
But how do you get it in the mail if PostNord doesn't deliver it?
They don't deliver it to Tesla.
Oh, they'll still deliver it to individuals.
Yeah.
Or, yeah. So does that mean that Tesla has to make sure that it's generic packaging so that they don't get get it thrown in the trash?
Yeah. I'm wondering if your mailman knows that, hey, this guy just got a new Tesla and here's a plate. I'm going to take it back to base.
This just seems so wrong.
It does.
I don't know how Tesla lost this. They're not asking for any special service. We just want to be able to use the mail. Oh no, you can't do that. What?
Right. Well, they have private postal there, so they don't have federal mail like we do. So, and then they've also got the Swedish way. Remember this whole sympathy striking thing is not a thing almost anywhere else. Where
right.
where one company is striking for this thing, and then now everybody else is participating in the strike that has nothing to do with it, like their janitors and their building maintenance. Like, oh, I'm sorry, you like AC, we like those other people to get what they want.
Yeah,
And
sounds highly effective.
yeah, it would be if you run up against
yeah.
somebody like Musk. We saw it work with Starbucks and Toys R Us before Toys R Us went under. The thing with this is, I'm generally for whatever the people who are doing the work want, but the problem here is the people doing the work. You've got anywhere from 3 to 13 people who are part of this union, and even they are not pushing for Tesla to negotiate with them. They're part of it, always have been.
Right.
And the remainder of the people don't want this. That's where, like, if you're trying to force this thing on, the other 250 people who don't want this, then you're in the wrong. And then to involve other companies in this is just even worse than what you're already doing. Like on your own, okay, let's agree and let's make this to the point where finally somebody will agree to it. But to use these mafia tactics is just old school. And I understand Swedish way, all this, but again,
yeah, for everybody who wants to privatize all the government functions, here's a case study where you might want to rethink some of that.
Right. So now they're not mandated to deliver your mail. They're just a company.
Right.
Dan says hello. The military vehicle is a good thing, especially with the servicemen and women working on them. Will have OJT after they leave service. Yeah. When they do break, which I think this one will be more reliable than anything in the field today. Obviously, if it runs over IED or somebody's just not being careful with it, there will be more opportunities than a consumer vehicle. But I think even that will still be more likely to be good. Yeah, so this is interesting to watch it play out, and it's amazing that Tesla was number 1 in sales for Sweden last quarter, and despite this, and again, I would be more supportive of what was going on if it was what the people wanted, and I understand you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna drop, Kacey.
Okay.
It's been fun hanging out. See you next time. Bye, everybody.
Next time.
Take care.
All right. So Nucleon has halted the works for the Tesla Giga Mexico because, as we saw, Elon wants to wait until the election to see what becomes of Giga Mexico. His excuses don't necessarily line up with what was going on when you look at the timeline. If the guy he's pushing so hard is really against this, why did you stop before he even was a factor? And then also, are you expecting him to rejigger things again? Because the USMCA made it easier to deal with Mexico. So are you expecting him to do something different to make working with Mexico hard? Who knows? But Mexico has decided that they will halt the works for the Tesla site, including a tunnel and some roads and I think a bridge. But they've also decided, as we talked about in the other story, they are pushing to make it easier to do business with them and get more local manufacturers. And I think that's the way to handle it. FSD transfers. So FSD transfers are not just available in the US and China. You can also get them in Canada again through the end of the year. Then we've got Tesla is expected to roll out FSD unsupervised in California and Texas next year. So the same stuff we're going to need for the Robobus and the Robotaxi. Oh, my mouse is gone. Come back. Sawyer says something. Sawyer says here are all the Q3 2024 EV sales ranked by units based on data sold by Cox Automotive. So Tesla Model Y we talked about already, 86,801. Number 3 is the Tesla Model 3 at 58,423. And as somebody pointed out, 1, 2, 3 punch, the Cybertruck is at 3 at 16,692. So the third best-selling EV of the quarter was the Cybertruck at over 100,000, because they hadn't started until this quarter. They hadn't started the non-foundation series. So you're looking at 100 or 120. Impressive. To be number 3 in the nation. Followed up by the Mach-E. The Honda Prologue, again, as we pointed out, the Honda Prologue was way better than we expected at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. Then the Hyundai Ioniq, Chevy Equinox, Chevy Blazer. The Honda is outselling the car it's built on. Almost double. Well, not almost double. They've been rounding them down to 6,000 instead of 8. But still, by 4,000 over 4,000 units more Hondas than Blazers. That's incredible. The Rivian R1S, the Cadillac Lyriq, Ford F-150 Lightning did almost half of what the Cybertruck did at a much lower price overall too. The Kia EV9, good start at $62.99. BMW i4 at $60.63. The Nissan Ariya is still hanging in there at $5,552. The Kia EV6 at $50 and $44. The BMW iX at $46.79. And the VW i4, which we talked about, had a little bit of a speed boost sometimes at $45.18. And the venerable Nissan Leaf is just hanging in there at $45.14. As we talked about, they had themselves a little boost because of their sales special that they were running. You can get a Nissan Leaf in Colorado for like $10 a month. That's a pretty good deal. And not even with like a massive amount down. We're talking like anywhere from $200 to $2,500 down for 3 years. You get a $10 a month car payment. And on the second month, you can prepay it all. So you can just say, here's my $800 for the car. Or whatever it came out to be for 3 years. Just not even $800. Let's see. That's 36 months times 10. That's $360. Here's my $360. Here you go. Don't bother me until it's time to turn it in again. That is just too cool. The GMC Hummer amazingly did 4305, which was more than the Rivian EDV at 4170. That makes some sense because you're only delivering to Amazon and a handful of others with the Rivian right now. The BZ4X did 4,109, amazingly. All the Mercedes did 3822, and the Rivian R1T at 3817. Okay, here we go. Solterra at 3754, Model X at just 3338. Need one more Tesla in there, and then we can call this the end of the list. Mercedes EQB at $30.99, Q4 e-tron at $29.75. The e-Transit at $29.55. That is so much lower than its competition. I hope Right Drop is on this list, but they might not be because of the shakeup, so they might not be on the list till next quarter. Ford e-Transit, Lexus RZ at $27.42. The Acura ZDX, which is also the Blazer, at $26.47. That's substantially lower than the Prologue and the Blazer. Mercedes EQS at $24.89. Polestar 2 at $23.78. Kia Niro at $23.49. Silverado EV at $19.95. That was a decent year. Ioniq 6 at $21.85. That's the sedan-looking one rather than the blocky SUV. Lucid Air at $19.44, which is still nice considering their price. Audi e-tron $17.45. There we go. Tesla Model S at $16.69 and the Taycan at $13.40. Let's just finish out the thousands. Volvo XC40 at $1,005 and a BMW i5 at just $996. We'll scroll all the way to the bottom and see who the least one was the Mercedes e-Sprinter at $30. But I think that one came out this quarter, so we'll have to give them a little bit of a break. So the other runner-up is the Genesis GV80 and the Chevy Bolt. Those are special cases, both of them. Let's go with the Porsche Macan at, well, that one just started too, at 219. So the loser is the Pomodoro at 235. But now we see why they wanted the flashy ad campaign against the Cybertruck, right? Those S and X numbers are almost unbelievable. Down 75% from peak. Yeah. I can't believe I had a local EV educator try to tell me the Cybertruck is a toy and will never pass 100,000 units. He told me this a month ago. Bet him otherwise. Easy money. I didn't realize there were that many models out there. Amazing that the top 3 are Teslas. Yeah. Okay, so Joel says, would the ruling against Tesla in Sweden be based on Elon's current behavior in the US? I don't think so. It definitely is not earning him any favors, but I think this is just his typical anti-union stance, and I don't believe that not an interview he had earned him any favors where his not an interviewee was laughing and joking about how he likes to shut down unions and then tried to say, haha, you too, right, buddy? And Elon didn't really shut that down, so that probably didn't help. And impressive to be number 3, and it's just $100,000 versions. Exactly! Once the price gets down, I'm curious how that Cybertruck number will get. I think it's going to go like through the roof. And I'm seeing a new feature here. They let me chat in the multi-chat. Let me try this. Say hello, chat. And does this appear everywhere? Yes, it almost appears everywhere. So we got it on YouTube. We got it on a red camera. Is that X? We got it on Twitch. And a blue crown. Is that Facebook? I don't see it on my copy of X. But my copy of X may also be frozen. Let me refresh it. While we wait for that, move over Model 3. Yes, indeed. The Model 3, again, is a sedan in a world of people who want to buy trucks. All right, so I clicked on refresh on that, but what I need to do now is come back over here so that the article doesn't open in the wrong window. So we just looked at Sawyer Merritt and the sales stats. Now we've got another one from somebody else. We're looking at the Drive Tesla says that Ashok says that the FSD version 13 will have more of the same autonomy demonstrated on the Cybercabs and Model Ys during the We Robot event. So FSD 13 is expected this month, and if we remember last month, they got everything done on their roadmap at the final hour. So we were like 3 hours to go in East Coast or 3 hours to go in California. I was up through the night on that one, so I don't know. This was before I went to sleep. And the Cybertruck finally got their FSD with end-to-end, and that checked off the final box on what they said they were going to do for September. So it says, the best part was that almost all of the autonomy demonstrated was using close to production AI software, or will ship with version 13. We'll ship soon with 13. That's really cool right there. So he's saying that most of what we saw, as I had said, if you put my car in a closed environment, I think it could do similar. The answer is yes, it probably was. And then that it can't do yet will be coming in 13. And I'm guessing that the parts that are not, where that they turned off the tracking for seeing if you were paying attention, and they turned off or turned on the ability to remote start and stop it. So it's cool to see that it was not a whole lot of just custom code that was just going to be used for that one event and then never seen again. Finally, it took an immense amount of effort from the very talented team to pull this off. The event was super motivating for the team, and we are looking forward to bringing this to the real world as soon as possible. And he said more up top. Reflecting on the event, we had 19 Cybercabs and 29 Model Ys driving themselves for 1,300 trips, transporting over 2,000 guests, continuous operation over the 3.5 hours, and everybody was perfectly safe. Yes. It was really amazing to see users taking the robotaxis for granted. They didn't even seem to think twice before crossing in front of it, walking alongside it, robotaxis interacting with one another, etc. They behave just the same as they would around human-driven activities. They did seem a little less impatient than my car does. My car seems to be less patient than even I am. If there's a way for it to get around somebody, it will take it. Version 13 coming with unsupervised FSD? I would not go that far, but maybe they'll start to do like the Mercedes and Honda style. Hey, if you're in traffic and it's a clear sunny day and then you're going below 35 miles an hour and there's a car to follow and bumper to bumper and this, that, and the other, then yes, we'll let you look away from the road. I think that'd be fun. That's not to say that's in 13, but I think that we will see the beginnings of that this year. Great work through your leadership and execution by the whole team. There's no doubt we'll have it next year. Yeah, I mean, what level? I don't know, but we'll have something next year. FSD 12.5 or 13 be trained or optimized for winter driving? That is a very good question. We're coming up on the snow season here in the northern hemisphere, and braking distance, acceleration, stops and turns so different in the winter. So hoping FSD will address them that season. And thankfully, I've got snow tires on, so it will help it. Camera flashed. It's weird. Even taking a highway off-ramp is different in the winter. When there is a storm, you follow the tire tracks of the cars that took the ramp before you, otherwise you'll end up in the ditch. Yeah, for snow. Following snow ruts is important during and after a snowfall. You should follow Cold Envy on YouTube. He's driving in Calgary. Last year's snow performance was surprisingly good. I'm looking forward to the latest FSD versions being pushed. I would like them to address it. Not to say that I won't do it, but I can't say that you should try it, and won't say that. Okay, so we got a hello chat on YouTube, but I don't see it on X. Robert says, windy and rainy here, now leaves for the fall. That's the other one you got to worry about right there is the leaves. They really change stuff when they pile up on the road and get wet. We learned it initially with trains over 100 years ago, and then it never got any better. Ford is paying dealers up to $22,500 to sell F-150 Lightning models through a new program. And this sounds like a dealer incentive. I did participate in a lot of them as a salesperson. None were this good. I mean, if you told me I could get $22,500 and share it with the store for selling a Ford Lightning, if I could pull in like 10 or 15 for selling a Ford Lightning, yeah, I would sell the heck out of my Ford Lightnings. But like, give me some more. I got them all. Let's go. Ford dealers got a significant incentive to test this new pilot program where every F-150 Lightning ordered from one of Ford's new retail replenishment centers, dealers can earn up to $1,500. Over the next month, though, Ford dealers can score up to $22,500 through the new program. Nice. During Capital Markets Day last May, Ford CEO Jim Farley outlined plans to make buying electric vehicles as easy as possible, including transparent pricing, better customer experience, and remote delivery options. I love remote delivery. I probably would have liked it even as a salesperson, just to get out of the store. But as a customer, oh man, it's awesome. To get vehicles into customer hands quickly, Ford said it would introduce new retail replenishment centers that can deliver EVs to dealers in an average of 7 days. So it's kind of like new hubs. That's cool versus having to wait on the truck and your monthly allocation. That was always a pain. Like if you got a customer right now who wants a purple sedan, and purple is just like you made 2% of them. It's like, eh. Pilot program runs through October 15th to November 15th, so it's well underway. Ford said it encourages dealers to test and experience the new EV distribution centers through the program. So this is literally just advertising money, and it's free money. Take it. With the retail centers spread across the U.S., Ford dealers can stock fewer vehicles while giving buyers access to more options. And this is important because of a thing called floor plan. Some of the oldest, richest dealerships, they pay cash and they own everything on the lot and they have insurance on it. But most dealers these days, they have what's called floor plan, which is they have a monthly car payment on everything sitting on the lot. And the more cars you have on the lot, the higher your floor plan is. So Ford is paying dealers $1,000 for each F-150 Lightning, XLT, Flash, Lariat, and Platinum ordered through a retail center. If a dealer orders more than 9, a maximum of 15, the incentive increases to $1,500. And throughout the month, dealers can earn up to $22,500. It's not 22 per car. 22,500 divided by 15 is 1,500. So up to 1,500 per truck. So that's still not bad. Like if you can get an extra 1,500 bonus, and at this kind of money, I don't see the dealership taking too much of a cut. I see them giving you anywhere between 1,000 to all of it as just an incentive to help them get their numbers. Because every time you hit a program like this, like if you max this out and you made no money from it because you gave it all to your salespeople, you're now going to show up in some other plan. You get some dealer kudo award for like, hey, these 3 dealerships maxed out the plan. That'll get you some money. Or at the next annual meeting, like, hey, these dealerships did this, here's a bonus. There are plenty of incentives for them to just give the salespeople all the money. And then, since it's not 22.5 each, but 22.5 total, now they not only are doing it for themselves, but they're also doing it to compete against their other salespeople. So, like, oh man, I just sold the 16th Lightning. So sad I don't get that $1,000 or $1,500, whatever. It's smart. It's smart. Especially as we just saw they were outsold by Cybertruck. So it applies to all trims except the base Lightning Pro, which is no longer available for retail sale. So the fleet guy won't get to participate in this. But at the same time, though, the fleet guy, he could easily hit all 15 at once. What does the fleet get replenished through the retail center? I don't think it does, because it's fleet. Instead of just giving the dealer incentives, free chargers, and door-to-door service, how about you just lower the price to consumers? It isn't really that hard, but it is. It would be nice to lower the price, and you should look at ways to do that. But just lowering the price is not enough. People need to know that the price is lower, and then you still need to get your salespeople to stop pushing other cars. So you're gonna need to do some of this stuff. All right, we're at 94% battery. Let's switch to battery and sun instead of pure grid. Okay, and let's get back to the show. So the next we've got the jumping mouse, and it opens in the wrong window for some reason. So we will move this to the right window. Move tab to Ford dealers. Close this tab. Lizard has announced a $262.4 million share public offering. So that's going to be an IPO. They're going to launch on which listings? Excuse me. 262,446,931 shares. It's really a weird number of shares. Shares of common stock. They're going to come at a critical time as Lucid seeks to strengthen their financial position with using the proceeds from the offering for capital expenditures. So we're talking buildings, equipment, stuff to make the product. That's good. Working capital and potential growth initiatives, sorry, according to a press release. Alongside the IPO, their majority stockholder, IER Third Investment Company, an affiliate of Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, is set to purchase an additional 374 million shares, 375 essentially to round that up, in a private placement. So they're offering to scroll this 262446931 374 77927. They're offering 637,164,858 new shares between the private Saudi shares and the public shares. This will allow IER to maintain its significant 58.8% ownership stake in Lucid after the public offering. So they're not going to get diluted as long as they buy all these shares. Excuse me. The Bank of America Securities will serve as the sole underwriter for the offering, with Lucid also giving them a 30-day option to purchase an additional 39,367,040 additional shares if there's a market need for that. If that happens, IR is committed to buying more shares to retain its stake. Oh, so that 39 million is retail, not private, but the same proportion for Saudis to maintain control of the company. This is just the latest move to bolster their cash reserves. It came in, most recent came 2 months ago with an investment of $1.5 billion from PIF. And they face financial difficulties in 2024 with shares of the company dropping by 20% since the beginning of the year. And this is the same stuff that that Elon was talking about. But they have a summary and everything in US dollars. They're having an IPO. Company stocks fell further following the announcement. So where are they IPOing if they're already on the market? It's interesting. I love how the drive test articles that are related are like years old. Let's see. It's not like they don't have new articles every day, but bankruptcy court judge orders Fisker to pay Ocean retail recall costs. So we talked a couple weeks ago about how Fisker was. So I guess we do have a recall segment. Fisker was trying to get out of paying the recall labor. They were going to give you the parts, but they didn't want to pay the labor to get your cars fixed. And I guess they're going to pay this labor to independent contractors because they don't have a service center. They don't have service staff in Canada. And in the States, I imagine it's really close to the same thing. So the U.S. Bankruptcy Court Judge Thomas Horan has ruled that Fisker will bear the cost of parts and labor with Canadian U for the recall of the ill-fated Fisker Ocean Eve SUV. This was passed after a hearing involving the company, the Fisker Owners Association, and New York-based American Lease, which is buying around 3,000 unsold Oceans for $46 million. I hope they also get their computer, because that was ridiculous. That's a separate lawsuit. 5 different recalls have been issued for the Ocean in the US, some of which require spare parts, others software updates, and Fisker initially offered to pay for faulty outer door handles, water pumps, but asked the owners to pay for labor. The company then agreed to bear all the costs, but backtracked as owners asked to pay for the repairs. And asked owners to pay for the repairs. Department of Justice stepped in with a complaint in bankruptcy court, which resulted in a favorable outcome for the Ocean owners. Despite the liquidation, Ocean EVs will still connect to the cloud for 5 years after the American Lease. For 5 years after American Lease agreed to pay the bill for keeping the servers running. Okay, so they are keeping the servers running, but they don't have access to them? Are they also paying the employee to do what he's doing with them? It's weird. And what happens after 5 years? The FOA has also granted control of Fisker's after-sales tool, Fast Diagnostic Software. Neato. Another one from Drive Tesla Canada we've got, followed by one from Electrek. So breaking! Tesla has launched the Model Y Canopy in North America. In Canada, it's 210 loonies. In the US, it's 150 US dollars. The Model Y Canopy extends coverage of your trunk by approximately 48 square feet and added comfort and protection from the elements. I was gonna skip this until I realized how big it was. It's constructed from a silver-coated fabric and aluminum alloy poles. Provides UV 50 plus protection and is water resistant. And in heavy rain, it can hold up against winds between 13 and 24 miles per hour. It's lightweight and compact and vehicle mounted with no ground contact. It's designed for easy assembly and storage in your trunk or frunk. Oh, this thing fits in the frunk, huh? Because the Model Y and Model 3 don't have the largest frunks. And then there's links to buy it in the store. First launched it in China last month. And when I first saw it, I kind of thought it was the rear tent situation, but it wasn't, because it's just a canopy. But that makes it more useful, I think. Takes car camping to the next level. Sort of. It's like an awning, really. I can't figure out when I'd use this, but I still want it. Takes car camping to the next level. Do you know if anything like this is available or will be made available for Cybertruck? There's the Cyber Tent. I don't know where you would mount this. It's using the tailgate for a lot of the structure. Let's look at the pictures, then go to the US listing. I mean, this would be perfect for tailgating, watching your kid play sports. Something that, not like just like in Gnat and Mosquitoville. Flies. There's just sometimes with the insects, it's just too much, and you don't want to open your vehicle. Just leave it open to have them drive with you. Interesting. All right, let's go to the store. Model Y Canopy for just $150. I say just because Tesla tends to have some high prices on their accessories. Not all of them, but some of them are just like, oof. Okay. I kind of thought there'd be more to it, but there's not. This one. Electric. We're looking at... this is fun. London's electric last mile delivery provider, Finn, is expected to expand to the US. Let's see about this. Last mile delivery is awesome to get electrified. Robert says, I'm sure about the Tesla solar system may be coming here soon. That'll be fun. Are you looking at solar panels or solar roof? And then you add the battery to that. That'll help if there's any power cuts for any reason. I know you guys don't get a lot of power cuts up there, but that ability right there, it gives good peace of mind. Like, we have not a lot of power cuts compared to the rest of the country, but we several times a year we're without power, and it's not always because a tree fell on the line or some doofus crashed into the pole. And our batteries have kicked in. Like, I don't even want to talk about triggers. There's like hundreds of triggers, but they've kicked in about 16 times here for storms and just random stuff. Yeah. Delivering parcels, not pollution. So 7 million in seed funding. Their electric vans and bikes are used to deliver between 7,000 and 14,000 parcels throughout London. I wonder where they're gonna. Okay, there we go. New York City in the U.S. 2025. Additional cities in 2025. Be good to see. How's my riding? So we've talked about the vehicle before. I don't know if we talked about the service. This is just smart. The cargo bikes are built to deliver 250 kilograms and uses a proprietary AI-powered technology platform that creates optimized routes, offering full transparency to the clients and customers. So the people shipping and the people receiving. Robert says cost of electricity is now at $24.47 per kilowatt hour now. Yikes. Hi. So in your case, I would also probably want the energy arbitrage of it all. It's like just to um, fill my battery and run on it when the battery's full, and then sell the extra back. Assuming that they buy it back. If they don't buy it back, then keep it all to myself. Finn deploys electric vans and cargo bikes. Have you seen these when you make it out to London? 250 kilogram and delivered AI powered technology. We've talked about that. Looking ahead, Finn is focused on continuing its rapid expansion while maintaining its commitment to sustainability and innovation, and aims to deploy 500 more bikes this year across both the UK and New York. I think New York is a good way to start for them because it's similar in density to London, and I don't see them being able to spread this across the states anytime soon. But if you start with these urban centers, you got New York, DC, Boston, just tight places. Maybe not Boston. That one's actually kind of spread out. And you can get the last mile going. Then you can build it up, something like a DHL or old FedEx and Airborne Express. Whatever happened to them? And you could kind of get the parcels delivered to hubs, and then the hubs to the bikes. If you're doing this with machine learning and stuff, this could work. Or if you just do big cities, there's plenty of business there too. I don't know that we have this specific article, so we're going to click on that one before we continue on. Pony AI has filed IPO. That's interesting. Kia's cheaper EV2 spotted out in the wild for the first time. That's cool. Rivian Halloween update. That's some fun stuff. We've got a little bit of that in here, but not everything. I was hoping there would be some. Oh, there they are. Some comments on this one. I'm looking forward to the day when a company press release doesn't mention AI. It's a bike. The AI is not about the bike. It's about the delivery algorithm. Where are the guys who were telling us that everything in their cities is to be delivered by a semi? Well, if that's the case, you need a Tesla semi. No one said everything, and NYC is different than most cities in the US. Exactly. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's go look at the wireless. I'm sure we've got something about it, but I don't know that we have any articles on it. Yeah, this is the video they released. So Tesla later released a video showing the Cybercab wirelessly charging at up to 25 kilowatts. We're not sure if that's home or not because 20 kilowatts is a 100 amp breaker. And I guess if you argue it's not a continuous use, you could still do 25 kilowatts on a 100 amp breaker. But then you're looking at charges of less than an hour, because once you hit an hour, that's considered a continuous use. And then you have to derate to 80%, which then becomes 20 kilowatts. So let's see. Tesla never seemed interested in wireless charging for its electric vehicles until recently. Yeah, they bought a company over it, took the IP, and then sold the company without the wireless charging included. Wireless charging solves problem. Wireless charging solves is not a major one for human pilot. For autopilot, it's huge. It alleviates the needs to plug in your car, which is not super difficult or time consuming. Nevertheless, Tesla has previously talked about automating the task in order to be ready for self-driving technology without a robot snake. If the cars could drive themselves, it would make sense for them to be able to charge themselves without needing a human to plug them in. There's also the issue of efficiency. Wireless charging has historically been a bigger loss than cable charging, but as we talked about over the years, we saw this year the two DOE examples of 150 plus kilowatt charging at over 90% efficiency. So there's also the issue of efficiency. With magnetic resonance, for example, they do claim 95% efficiency as cable charging. Nonetheless, over the years, Tesla favored an automated robot arm instead of wireless charging to complete this task, but things have changed recently. They got the technology. Last year, they teased a new wireless home charging station. It was a Model S sitting over a pad like we see here. The automaker never committed or never commented on the situation other than releasing the picture. However, the image was pretty clear. It showed a wireless charging station, and Tesla did briefly acquire the startup that focuses on wireless charging before selling it back, but not before taking the staff and the IP. Furthermore, Franz von Holzhausen more recently confirmed that Tesla is working on a wireless charging pad. Earlier this year, we learned that Cybertruck has inductive charging connectors. I still think that those are PTOs, but there's nothing saying that you couldn't then attach the pad to them, assuming they're thick enough. I don't think that the ones that Monroe showed were thick enough. Which shows it can be retrofitted with the charging pad. Oh, also, you could also use that for the range extended battery pack. So I was not convinced that this was for wireless charging, even though Electrek and others are. At Tesla's Wii Robot event, they unveiled that their robotaxi is wireless charged, and now they've released a video showing us wireless charging pad. Yeah, it's another one with music, so I'm gonna leave it muted. Robotaxi wireless charging, no hands required. So on there, we can see 35%. All right, go back. Pause it. Sorry. Charges at 35%. Energy added is 0 kilowatts, and current power is at 21 and rising. It gets up to 25 before they get off the screen. 56 minutes remaining, so that is under an hour. So they could just be using a 100 amp circuit if this is at home. Just try to use my YouTube shortcuts. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So right there, we see it at 25 kilowatts before it leaves the screen. And sorry, this right here is a point that I was making during the Wii Robot event. Is you have a shorter run between this receiver and the battery than you do from a charge port to the battery. So that alone right there could be a savings if you can make this cheap enough to make it worth it. 1 minute remaining, and off it goes. So depending on how much your copper, aluminum, whatever your charge port connection is made of, you save all of that plus the engineering to get it all the way through the car. And during a crash, you don't have to worry about that one corner of the car as badly anymore, as far as repairs. The video shows a charge rate of 25 kilowatts. That's what I paused on earlier. 35% from wherever they were, 0% added. Top comment by Iggy. Hopefully someone will eventually gather and share data on the power going into the pad versus the power coming out of the receiving coil. It's going to be hard to do. As well as how, other than the DOE study, as well as how much things heat up. Some solutions claim 95% efficiency, but that's under ideal lab conditions with perfect coil alignment, which is unlikely in the real world use. If it's driving itself, I think it will happen more than you expect. Look at how well Starship Super Heavy and Starship landed, and Starship had another melted wing event. And then you've also got what Falcon 9 does week after week. And look at how well Autopark does. Just basic visual Autopark does a decent job time after time. Not always the greatest, but it's still an older technology. And I'm curious to see what it can do when they bring it into the new Tesla Vision system instead of the version 11, version 10 that it runs on. It's not version 9. If the power losses for this are too large, I'd really rather it remain a niche thing. If it becomes standard for all EVs, it can add up pretty quickly to a ton of wasted energy. But as we showed with the Sankey graphs, we don't have to replace all the energy going in. Even if we're still wasting some with the EV, with wireless charging, if what's wasted is less than what we were doing with the old system, gasoline, then yeah, it could be better, but you're still making an improvement. So why let perfect be the enemy of the good? Plus, with pads everywhere, then hopefully this will move towards solving the charging for multifamily dwellings, corporate and business. And at home, it's just going to be this little bump sitting in your garage or driveway, but hey, whatever. I feel they can integrate it flush in a lot more places, so. That won't work for 3-wire Cybercab, though, because they don't have air suspension. Would work for the Robobus. And the S and the X. If they make it that long. As we saw in the charts, they're not selling very well. And the Cybertruck. Cybertruck as well has air suspension, but it has a limit for how low it can squat. Anyway, it becomes a standard. It could add up pretty quickly to a ton of wasted energy, added load on already stressed grids, but as we discussed, every mile driven electric and every mile driven gas uses the same amount of electricity. So if we can get them to be less gas miles, we're reducing the load on the grid. And the idea that convenience are a great concept, but I worry in practice this could add overhead to energy consumption that we are trying to minimize until we have resilient grids with energy surpluses. Smells like it. Jevon's paradox. Who is Jevon? In economics, Jevon's paradox occurs when technological progress increases the efficiency with which a resource is used, reducing the amount necessary for any one use, but the falling cost of use induces increases in demand enough that the resource use increases. Yeah, I didn't know it had a name. Rather than reduced. Governments, both historical and modern, typically expect that the energy efficiency gains will lower energy consumption rather than expecting the Jevons paradox. In 1865, ... Okay, so I think he's worrying too much here. This is not comparable to level 3 DC fast charging that Tesla owners are used to with supercharging network, but it's higher than your typical level 2 home charging. All wireless charging is AC. And we've seen 150 kilowatts, 200 kilowatts demonstrated. I wouldn't worry about whether or not they'll be able to supercharge. It'll just be AC instead of DC. Joel says the advantage is not just the convenience, but the inability to vandalize the charging infrastructure. Exactly. It's going to be so much harder to destroy these pads than it is to clip the cables. And when they clip the cables, they're trying to sell them. They're rarely just doing it for straight vandalism. Otherwise, you see them clip them and leave them in place. And in addition to that, you don't have a situation where people are running over the dispensers. Like I saw a lady at Buc-ee's smack the crap out of one of the dispensers with her Model 3. And it appeared to be like a rear-wheel drive LFP, and it had some power to it. So imagine what some of the others could do. And like my Model X, for instance, it's truckworthy, and it could yank a truck out of the spot if I was ever so inclined. And then this will also solve the problem of the handful of cars per year that get abandoned at the superchargers. Like there's a medical emergency, or the person just vanishes into thin air and the car is just stuck to the charger. This will solve that. And I think that it might allow us to have a virtual queue where you pull in, your car takes a number, and then you go do your business, get lunch, go to the restroom, and your car will handle charging itself. And when you're ready, it will be in the outbound waiting lot, and you can just get in and go. And so they won't need as many stalls per station. It'll also allow them to determine which stations are blocked by non-chargers, so like by trailers or ICEs or whatever, because it's a magnetic coil. It can sense that there's something over it blocking it, and it'll be easier for them to do the detection. They don't have to worry about people putting water on it. They don't have to. I mean, you will have to worry about too much snow, but you won't have to worry about people leaving the handles down in the rain and the snow. I think that overall, when this is ready, this could be a net positive for the supercharging partners. So you'll have the Teslas, and then everybody else on the NACS except Stellantis and BMW. and more BMW than Stellantis. BMW didn't say they weren't participating. They just said, get a new car with supercharging. We don't know about the old cars. While Stellantis pretends that supercharging doesn't exist. But yet their ports are ready. They've got the adapters. And those two are just really weird. And I can't recommend either of them until we know how they'll be supercharging. Or not. Because Stellantis doesn't say supercharging. They say Iona charging network. So the worry about level 3, I would not worry about level 3 charging, except that it will be AC instead of DC. So 106. We'll sample some of these before moving on. All right, so we read this one. I would rather plug in and charge than wirelessly do it. It's too quick and easy to get in my garage. Connected right there. Excuse me. I mean, it doesn't bother me to plug it in. I'm not going to say that if I had a wireless pad that I would make an effort to plug in. Especially if this thing is priced similar to the Tesla wall connector at like $450 or less, depending on when in the year and where you buy it. Wait, the robot also can't plug in the car? Yeah, but you would need a robot at every plug. And you already have a robot at the plug in the form of the car, but you don't need the car to also have an apparatus to go and snatch a cable and then put it back and spit it out. And the other thing about this is it gets rid of what we've been looking at every plug-in car ever, where the immobilizer makes it so that your car is stuck to the infrastructure. And if something happens, like we saw in Burlington at the supercharger, or any of these other cases that EVJect is been accused of fear-mongering with, if something like that comes to pass, you've got a road bear, you've got a robber, you've got, like we saw that young lady who was boxed in and snatched from her Model Y for family reasons. We don't know what the case is there. It's one of those countries that does arranged marriages and stuff, but here in the States, the argument was, could her Model Y have pushed that gas car out of the way? And the answer was easily. It would be smushed, and theirs would definitely have a dent in the side. But do you really care if you're escaping? But anyway, in cases where stuff like that is happening, where there's an imminent danger, and you need to get away from the station without getting out of the car, if there's nothing plugged in, it's a lot easier to deal with. And it hasn't been a big issue yet. From what, 2005 through now that we've had cars that have plugs. Not true. To 98 through now. But there are bad people out there, and as the technology becomes more popular, the idea that the car is interlocked to the infrastructure will become less obscure, and these ne'er-do-wells will try and take advantage of that. So if you're not locked to the infrastructure, that's one less thing to worry about. And again, I admit it's not a huge thing, and I know I'm not fear-mongering, and yes, EVJect has a product and a reason and a market. The problem that wireless solves is not a minor one. Wireless is a key solution to public infrastructure problem. It's able to exist invisibly in the public sphere, embedded in roadways, parking stalls, or taxi stands. It protects the environment and vandals, as Joel pointed out, vandals in the neighborhood. NIMBYs, yeah, not in my backyard. The thing's ugly. But if it just looks like the road, then the only thing they can object to is the construction process. It should never be a question of either wireless or wired. Tesla did do that, though. Each has its place. People who park at home will literally stick with a wired, or will likely stick with a wired connection. And municipalities are likely to gravitate to wireless for level 2 because they don't want the risk of vandals stealing the copper cables, people tripping on the cables, cable maintenance, and so on. I'm adding to this guy's comment here. And places that get snow will want to be able to easily scrape parking lots and sidewalks. Yeah, so the popped up ones will not work in these snowy lots, but if you recess them into the ground, it will work just fine. easy to do when there's no poles in the way. Yes. High power chargers will probably stick with a wire connection for the foreseeable future. Yes. But long term, they may become rare as wireless is embedded into the highways becomes a real thing. And he got to it before I was going to say it. So Tesla hasn't said this, but I suspect what we might see with the robotaxis, we've already seen it in Michigan. There's a trial section of road for wirelessly charging EVs while they operate. If you only need 50 to 100 miles of range to get off network, you can make a smaller battery. It'll use less resources. It'll be lighter. It'll be more performant. And the rest of the time, you can draw directly from the grid as you run down the highway. Tesla, being the #1 EV maker, might have the ability to either just contract this out and do it themselves, or work with some municipalities and get these installed. And then once everybody experiences the ability to not have to just charge when they get home, wirelessly or otherwise, because they charge the whole way up on the road, and not only will that increase EV adoption, I think that this will be a new paradigm right here. And I think that Tesla just didn't mention that, like, because they show it parked, but we've got the computer technology to trace you going down at legal speeds and just run off of the grid, like a train, or like the overhead ternary lines. Induction, just make it happen. Okay, Joel says, could these not support VDA? Yeah, they could support VDA. You just gotta reverse the direction you're sending it through. How much easier would it be to support a grid event when people could just drive up and leave, but then support the grid? Yeah, like this right now, even if VDA were to come on tomorrow, you'd have to have everybody remember to plug in. And if they're just getting groceries, or they're at the movies, or they're at a government office doing paperwork, they're probably going to have enough charge to make it home or where they're going next. And so unless the charging is free and available, they're probably not thinking about plugging in. And if you did this, and all the stuff was already set up in the accounts for vehicle to grid, and it knew how much you needed for the next couple stops, they could do a grid balance, they could do a grid push. This will also be able to increase vehicle to grid. Good point, Joel. Thank you. Yeah. The cost and economics of building wireless charging into highways is insane. It's on the level of flying cars, except that unlike flying cars, you don't have to worry about how badly people have maintained their cars, because if it's out of spec, it just won't go. And you don't have to worry about them falling out of the sky or people getting a pilot's license. Robert says if there was an accident, they could shut off power to the road. Yeah, exactly. And smart. Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot more to see than just home charging and robotaxis with these wireless. We'll have to watch it and see. Okay, where are we on? I gotta track the cursor as I scroll because he likes to do some weird stuff. This one. All right, so this one is Serve Robotics unveils their Gen 3 autonomous delivery robots to help scale services across the country. So these cute little things can deliver food. Electric, autonomous, hopefully not getting hit by trains anymore. I don't know if I showed the video of the one getting hit by the train. They unveiled their 3rd gen robot. It's faster, smarter, and tougher at a fraction of the cost of manufacture. All good ways to go. With production now underway, Serve looks to deploy these upgraded robots as soon as a critical component of its plans to expand services across the entire U.S. Investors include NVIDIA, 7-Eleven, Uber Eats, which partnered its former entity, I guess the previous version of the company, to begin offering autonomous robot deliveries to select customers across LA. The initial 2022 transaction included deployment of up to 2,000 delivery robots before Serve Robotics expanded its relationship with Uber Eats by signing a deal with Shake Shack to offer select customers in LA robot deliveries. All right. The Gen 2 robots have been deployed for testing, but this is Gen 3. Tell us about Gen 3. Our fastest, smartest, most reliable robot yet. It's 5 times more brain power with an NVIDIA Jetson Orin and Orister. With NVIDIA Jetson Orin, and Orister Rev 7 LiDAR for ultra-fast decisions. The good thing is these things have surround awareness, so you don't have to worry about somebody stealing your NVIDIA chips. Advanced collision avoidance and emergency braking for next level safety. 40% faster for quicker reaction times. Extended 14-hour service operations, that's good. Less charging. 67% more battery capacity and 15% more cargo space. 60% faster speeds and smoother ride. Built tough to handle diverse weather and terrain conditions with 50% reduced cost, providing for faster ROI. Yes. Full stack AV sensors and level 4 autonomy. Touchscreen interface. 13 gallons of cargo. Holds up to 4 16-inch pizzas. That's pretty cool. It could deliver one whole party. Redundant connectivity. We learned that was important with either Cruise or Waymo earlier last year, where they were on one cellular network and drove through a dead zone and needed comms in the dead zone. So you want to have bi-carriers, or even better than bi-carriers is one carrier and another communication platform entirely, like say a Starlink Mini and cellular for a good coverage. Probably 2 sailors in a Starlink, but as a business you can afford that. As an individual, that's prohibitive. Top speed 7 miles an hour, 32 degrees to 104 degrees, and light rain for weather. Range is 23 miles or 10 hours. 10-gallon capacity. Oh, sorry, 13-gallon capacity. That's the Gen 3. Oh, this is Gen 2. Gen 3 increases it to 11 miles per hour top speed. -4 to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. 48 miles of range for 14 hours. And a 15-gallon or the same number of pizzas. I would think you could get one more pizza in with 2 more gallons. But that's just me. Oh, you still get just 4 pizzas, but they're 16 inches instead of 14 inches. That's where. There she is. It's got... What's the name of that suspension? It's got articulated axles. What are they called? Torsion. It's got torsion axles. Look at that. That means that that whatever you're delivering will be less shook up. This one was named Jamie. They all have names on them for, like, if you need to call in. Hey, Jamie's acting a fool. Oh, okay, we'll get right on it. Yeah, so eventually these things will spread. All right, so we've got Wes Morrill has tweeted something about Tesla. Oh, a long tweet, looking like me. This is going back to that first video we saw with Jason Camisa about the Cybertruck. They had they took it on a racetrack with Randy, and they beat it with a sledgehammer after destroying a fridge. He tells us a little bit behind the scenes. So when Jason showed up at the Tesla office one morning, Lars and I met him out front with the Cybertruck, where we did a quick walk-around introduction. He then spent the entire day sitting in back-to-back tech reviews with every one of the engineering teams, getting a tour of our test lab and generally smiling and nodding. In the afternoon, we took him over to the test track to introduce the steer-by-wire to the first non-Tesla person ever. Exciting. Would he love it? Would he hate it? Terrifying. Here's an automotive journalist, and we took away his mechanical doodads and replaced them with fancy tech. I was half expecting a lot of expletives and personal denigration. He had only a minor comment on the steering wheel Excuse me, and the team fixed it before giving him the truck to film. Have I mentioned that they are unbelievable rock stars? He seemed to ask good questions, but I wasn't really sure how much he would retain. Nothing against him. It was an absolute fire hose of information. You can imagine how the team of diehard engineers may have responded to someone interested in the details of their years-long hard work, which they had previously not been allowed to share with anyone outside their colleagues. In retrospect, sorry, Jason. So right there, he's pointing out this habit of the engineering nerd to brain dump, and since they have been under secrecy this whole time, he's saying it was an overload and apologizing. But also, I think that helped the review because Jason knew all kinds of stuff. I still haven't seen that document that we were looking for. Jim Farley confirmed that it's real, but the how to go 48 volts paper, I would love to read that if anybody's been able to get an open copy of it. Don't risk your job for it if it's NDA sort of thing. I remember walking with him to the front lobby at the end of the day and asked how it goes, or asked how he does it. His answer was that it takes all the coolest info and distills it down into something stupid simple that resonates with the general population. His tone was self-deprecating, but I suspected he was downplaying this skill. Yeah. We sent him on his way with a truck for just 2 days to film nearby. Cybertruck was launched in 2 weeks, and so we got back to it. So they're off in the truck, and these guys are back in the labs. I think we flew back to Austin the next day for my 30th trip of the year or so. I'm told that the team worked basically 24/7 to edit and compose the video that in that time frame. Good gracious. Yeah, that was a well-done video to be cranked on like that. Later, he mentioned that the icon videos usually take 2 weeks to film and months to edit. Oh, so it take weeks to film and months to edit. Sorry again, Jason, because they got 2 weeks to work on it and they got it out in days. The launch to the day of the launch and the embargo lifted, and the icons video that came out completely blew me away. I was impressed not only with the density of the information, but also the ability to make it tangible, engaging, and entertaining. I watched the video an embarrassingly large number of times. I think I watched it twice. It was long. And so it's no surprise to me that Jason and his team won Best of Journalism Film for the Tesla Cybertruck episode at the International Motor Film Awards. Congratulations. Jason, this was actually the original one. Okay, so watch it on YouTube. Why is it not scrolling anymore? Okay. There's a link to the video. Jason is the GOAT. Seriously, what a cool human. Seriously, though, you guys absolutely nailed Steer by Wire. I haven't experienced it yet. I'd like to. Dedication of hardware, software, and dynamics experts who worked on it was unmatched. He did such a good job reviewing the Model 3 performance also. He was a lot more critical of that one. M3P is awesome. It's such a great value for the money, huge dynamic range, comfortable daily driving, and fun on the back road too. Oh, it's the new one though. That might be different. Great video, well deserved. If there's ever an opening for an engineering nerd, best access again. Consider us. Lightning angle. All right, so I think that was all I had about that one. Basically, Jason got the reward, and he gave us a little bit behind the scenes of how the video worked, which was fun to read. Sawyer says that Tesla has reduced the price of the wall connector in the US to $420 from $450. And at the time, we were all thinking, it's $30. What's the big deal? One, it's cheaper now. Two, that's Elon's favorite number there, 420. And 69. I wonder why. $30 does nothing either way. They might as well make a little more. And Sawyer caught it. 420 is a cooler number. Encouraging the adoption of AC charging is important. Yeah. Not for Cybertruck. $550. This is just buying the unit by itself. That doesn't mean that They're not going to take any extra money from you from bundling it with the car, as they did here. A universal wall connector, 500 perfect. Oh, that's another good point right there. So this is a universal connector, so that might be the real price if that's the Tesla only one. Wall connector to 420. This is not the universal one, so they're not scamming you with the Cybertruck. The Cybertruck one is the NAX and J1772. This one's just the NAX. Okay. But the bundle price could still be different from the retail price. Do look. Another one from Sawyer. This whole computer wants to restart. I restarted the browser last night. Same thing with a different number. No, it's the same number. I'm sorry. I should have seen that. First look at Tesla's humanoid robot, Optimus, self-navigating to its charger and plugging itself in using its rear camera. Optimus uses Tesla's own 4680 battery cells, the same type of cell that's used in Cybertruck and will be used in Cybercab. I am going to continue on because there's more to this. And we'll see more of the video as well. It's the same one. Again. But that one I actually clicked the same one twice. I didn't load it in the notes twice. Breaking! Tesla has released an update to its Optimus humanoid robot. Here's everything that's new. It can now explore unseen spaces autonomously, it can locate and self-navigate to the nearest charging station and plug itself in using unique rear cameras. Using rear cameras. Optimus can now pick up significant payloads such as a 25-pound tray. Together, the multiple bots build a shared understanding of their surroundings. Optimus can now walk upstairs. It can now interact with people via AI. It can hand you different items upon request. And Tesla. These new skills are all learned by a single neural net, also running in real time on Optimus's embedded computer. Optimus 2X. And then this one's got, it doesn't have any voice. It has the same captions, and then of course, like Tesla's got music on it. Jan points out that so they're charging it through the back. Thank goodness. A couple other people came to that same conclusion that thankfully they didn't charge any of the other ways they could have. I was thinking maybe the foot would make sense, but then you'd have to kind of keep charge port clean. But the back makes sense. Can't wait to see these walk among us, literally. Hopefully one day it may help me convince my wife to order one. When the Tesla Optimus bot here's the voice command that other Teslas have for opening the charge port door. I wonder if hers walking path inside the marked spaces, it detects them at least. Maybe. That's interesting. All right, we're getting in the home stretch. Yeah. Stellantis and Leap Motor we talked about, so we'll continue on. Tesla Optimus says navigating by myself, the same video we just saw. important, none of these shots were teleoperated per Julian, the senior staff software engineer on the Tesla bots. Some updates on our autonomy capabilities in this video: can dock and charge by itself, navigate around humans, carry a tray, walk upstairs, and give snacks to humans. None of these shots are teleoperated. Unlike the allegations about the Wii robot event. It also says it in the video, so I don't understand why so many think it's being teleoperated here. I think I've got a tweet explaining what happened and why at the event. People are afraid of change. So when did you learn to walk up the stairs? This is amazing, mind-blowing progress with Optimus by Tesla. Global says, Musk, let's all of us talk for days about how it isn't AI and then releases this video. Some of it was teleoperation, but if I have that tweet in here, we'll talk about why. The self-appointed experts on the internet will keep talking for days about how this is not mind-blowing. I think this is him right here. That or one of these Drive Tesla articles is him. We'll see. All right, so Optimus Tesla bot engineering, Milan Kovac says, while we were busy making the its walk more robust for 1010, we've also been working on additional pieces of autonomy for Optimus. The absence of useful GPS in most indoor environments makes visual navigation central for humanoids. Using its 2D cameras, Optimus can now navigate places new places autonomously while avoiding obstacles, as it stores distinctive visual features in our cloud, and can do so while carrying significant payloads. With this, Optimus can autonomously head for a charging station, dock itself, which requires precise alignment, and charge as long as necessary. Our work on autopilot has greatly boosted these efforts. The same technology is used in both the car and the bot, barring some details, of course, and the dataset needed to train the bot's AI. Separately, we've also started tackling non-flat terrain and stairs. Finally, Optimus has started learning to interact with humans. We trained its neural net to hand over snacks and drinks upon gestures and voice requests. All neural nets currently used by Optimus in manipulation tasks, visual obstacles detection, localization, and navigation run on its embedded computer directly, leveraging our AI accelerators. Still a lot of work ahead, but exciting times. And then I pointed out to Black Tesla that this would help with his parking garage test that he did. Those fleet-sourced maps uploaded to the cloud seem like they could be quite useful for FSD as well. Lots of companies would probably love to pay for API access to a real-time map of the world. Yes, and not just car companies. And then Jan's tweet ended up there again. Drive Tesla says 2 things. Tesla has installed their 60,000th supercharger in the world. This one happens to be in Japan, as well as the 600th in Japan, which is also the first V4 dispenser in that country as well. And I have a feeling it's not a true V4 all the way through because they have lower voltages than we have here. So I would suspect it would be in U.S., China, or Europe, or Canada to get the first true V4 all the way through. It's a pretty one. That's just that. No comments on it. All right, so we'll go to theirs and we'll translate. Japan's first supercharger, V4, finally arrives at Enshu Morimochi in Shizuoka Prefecture. A special edition postbox was installed. Dispenser was installed to commemorate the 600th in Japan and 60,000th globally. Oh, 2. So number 600 and number 60,000. So they got 2 special editions. It looks like they're right next to each other. I'll have to open up those pictures to see. 12 devices can be charged simultaneously, so 12 cars. Available all day. And Platt Park Inshu Morimochi parking area, upbound parking lot on the general roadside. Was this translation accurate? I don't know. It sounds good. They are right next to each other. Number 60,000 and number 600. Look at that. Oh, man. One dark gray one, which looks cool, and then one really nice one. I like that detail at the bottom there with the swooshes of the lines. So number 600, so their country one is colorful, and the one for the world is just a different color than the white. That is cool. Joel says, I thought they would have had wireless chargers at the feet. Yeah, that would be cool too, wireless. I didn't even think about wireless charging for the bot. But with the two separate feet, then that gives them both more surface area and allows them to do anything they need to do differentially. That's a good idea. And I wouldn't put it past them to put wireless in the bot before, either before it comes out or before the next version comes out. Hopefully, it's before they start deploying them en masse outside the company. That'd be even cooler if the bot could just go stand on the car's charger. So we did Japan. Now we're looking at this one from Drive Tesla, and then we're going to go Tesla Roddy. Tesla launched their referral program in Singapore. So if you want to use my code, somebody else's, ts.la/Kacey1109, pop it in the chats. This is also found out that these are case sensitive, at least on the names. So if you spell my name with a capital letter, you don't get your $1,000. You spell my name with a lowercase letter, you get your $1,000. All right, so that was Drive Tesla. Then we got Tesla Roddy. The UK takes a different approach on China-made EVs. So the UK versus the EU. The EU did the 10% plus however much percentage they think China's cheating. UK says, well, just bring them on over. So the Chinese electric vehicles, the UK trade minister stresses the importance of keeping trade channels open for British businesses. And since they're not part of the European zone for commerce, they have to try their own things and whatever they think will work. And not blocking Chinese cars could help them get better prices and better cars overall. Excuse me. So I suspect that Model 3s and Model Ys from China are pouring in. UK will not impose tariffs on China-made EVs, while unlike countries in the EU, Canada, and the US. According to the UK Trade Minister, the UK government has not received complaints filed with Britain's Trade Remedies Authority about China-made EV imports from local businesses. Do you have any car makers left? You got a bunch of boutiques, but do you have any car makers left? I don't know that they do. Even the ones you think of as traditionally British are like Indian. Indian and Chinese, actually. they lost all their stuff. Reynolds also emphasized that the UK would not be following the EU's lead regarding the tariffs. He said that his primary concern was thriving and open export markets for British producers. And that's the other part you got to worry about there is when you do a tariff, sometimes they hit you back. And when you're a smaller country and not part of this conglomerate like the EU anymore, you can't afford people not to be buying your stuff anymore. I do have the power as Secretary of State to make that referral. We'll keep it under close analysis, but this is important for our industry. Is different, and as of yet, the industry hasn't asked for that referral to the TRA. And that's the other thing to look at there is the people who make cars locally. Are they going to have any overlap with these cars coming from China? And if not, then why risk the retaliation if it's not hurting your local business by doing that? Robert says BYD the other day, taxi black cab is still UK. Yeah, stuff like that where you'd expect it to still be made at home. But the stuff that is made there that's not, the black cabs are going to be pricier, and then China's just not competing with that right now. I suspect if it were to become a problem, then we'd start to see them at least put them in on the expensive cars. This one, I found a shortcut. There's this little arrow that kind of hangs around sometimes on my notebook. Sometimes, but not always. The maker of cheap TVs just launched a solid-looking EV. So Huawei is now making electric cars. Is it Huawei? I think it's Huawei. I clicked it. Make it go. TVs found at Walmart or Amazon is launching a new family hatchback designed to rival the VW ID3, the Cooper Born, and the BYD Dolphin. So far, it looks like the real deal. A host of Chinese brands you've likely never heard of will be unveiling new EVs at this week's Paris Auto Show, which has made a big comeback this year after a major lull post-COVID. Among them is newcomer to the scene, Skywell. Okay, so no, not Huawei. Skywell, a brand better known for its cheap electronics. It's sort of a newcomer since the brand trades as Skyworth in Europe, and Skyworth is a major electronics brand in China. As the name Skywell, the company has already launched a vehicle in the UK this year dubbed the BE11, a mid-sized electric SUV, and has been selling EVs in Israel for a couple of years now. But now we're seeing both names on this car, so it's not clear. It doesn't look bad. I like this detail with like the recycled plastic at the flex. Yes. Is now unveiling the Q, which is expected to go on sale throughout Europe next year, and no surprise, be competitively priced. Measuring 4.3 meters long, the vehicle probably won't turn a lot of heads, but it's clean, modern, and squarely placed in the family car segment. 2 battery options are available, with the larger pack giving 300 miles of range, and the smaller one obviously being less. DC fast charging should give you 10 to 80% recharge in 20 minutes, and the 204 horsepower front-mounted motor, another front-wheel drive, that's so weird, will enable what it claims to be 0 to 62 time in 3.9. Good gracious! 0 to 62 time of 3.9 seconds. I mean, it's not the fastest, but it is way faster than what we were just talking about with the sports car John Cooper Works. And it's faster than the base Model 3. The new base Model 3. That's a lot quicker than the BYD Dolphin Comfort, which can do the same in 7 seconds. So they have set themselves up with a high watermark of we don't make slow cars. Robert says, sure, 2-seat Chinese EV asked Men about it, and he said he only paid $10,000. Yeah, these things are just affordable. And the Q also offers 18-inch alloy wheels with a large sky roof on some models, infotainment system with a large 15.6-inch touchscreen, and comes equipped with METS sound system and 8 speakers, wireless connectivity, and touchscreen displays in the rear seats. A host of other features included, such as 360-degree panoramic parking camera, autonomous braking system, lane keep assist, intelligent speed assist, and it comes with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty and 8-year, 155,000-mile warranty for the battery. Legacy. You got it hard right now. You're coming up against phone makers. Good luck. While we'll have to see how this all plays out in real life, the Q looks like it could be a real contender in the EV space, at least from the photos and the spec sheet. Of course, for the record, BYD got its start in making mobile phones, and Geely, which owns Volvo, made refrigerator parts. This is going to be fun to watch. We already saw how many there were just in the US on sale, and now you've got this. Apple Computer Company spent billions and failed to launch an EV. In the meantime, a maker of knockoff TVs in China makes an EV on the side and launches it successfully. What gives? Apple execs didn't realize you can't make it the iDevice profits in an automotive world. That part. Sort of. The 30% profit margin Tesla's making that 25 to 30%. Apple would have to do a really good job to command that here in the States and worldwide. And their autonomy program was not doing all that well compared to what's already out there. So I hear. Let's put it that way. So I hear. The people in charge of the product thought that they had unlimited time and money. Most likely, we know Dyson failed because of that endless tinkering. Yes, exactly. With the design, sending the project over budget, and building a factory in Singapore probably wasn't the best plan. Okay, so Dyson, also their car was going to be super expensive compared to all of these, compared to Tesla. So the company worth $3 trillion could have made an EV if they wanted, or simply bought out Tesla or any other EV manufacturer. Yes. They just came to the conclusion it was not worth the ROI or the risk. There's that. Meanwhile, Huawei and Xiaomi are selling hundreds of thousands of cars. Yes. Excessive caution on Apple's behalf, yeah. Not only is it caution, but it's now a new market entirely than what they're already running in. It's not like this complements the phone or the laptops, or they don't make servers anymore, so I get the caution, but they could have done this. They could have done it well. Okay, who cares what you're bored with? They're cheap cars that are affordable and well featured. I don't know about how well built or whatnot. This is coming from our friends at Rivian. I'm going to play it on mute. An iconic duo reunited at David Hasselhoff. The countdown is on. Our Halloween software update arrives, and after the clock strikes midnight local, spooky features will be available for a limited time. It's got the sound effects I like, but it's got music, so this is obviously a what do they call the R1 second gen? Yeah. So jealous of the Gen 2 owners right now. There are lots of goodies for our Gen 1 owners too. Thanks. Does this require 2024.39 update? My truck hasn't gotten it yet. It's on Wi-Fi and has been woken up many times. Software update release 39 is required for this feature. The update is rolling out to owners soon. Still doesn't work with the 39 update. Software remains a mess on this vehicle, Gen 2 R1S. I have to admit that does look pretty cool. It's coming from Corey. Is Corey a Tesla guy or something? Tesla connoisseur. We'll take it. Knight Rider and Kit. It's a good Halloween costume, Rivian. All right, so Tesla North says something. Oh, I see what happened here. This thing came off my Twitter. It's still live, so it's getting video. Good. I am so glad that this thing got fixed, because I was actually going to turn off X because I didn't have a chance to test it. I'm glad I didn't turn it off. So Tesla North is pointing out that the Cybertruck orders for all starts at $79,990. It's available at Tesla.com. You can go and order your Cybertruck today without logging in, without a reservation, and I'd buy the Cyber Beast just for the thrill of driving something out of a sci-fi movie, performance aside. This one I didn't touch on, but Tesla said how it started, how it's going. Supercharger network now turns 12. Here's a picture. It was at 0, and now it's full. Not fully full, but full enough. Look at China, look at Europe, look at the US. There's a big gap in the middle there. Canada, good thing all you people live down on the border with the US. Alaska's starting to fill in. You got that bright spot out in the ocean is Hawaii. Oh, they got some South America. I didn't realize that. South America. I'm guessing all those ones out in the ocean are Puerto Rico. Mexico is filling in nicely. Got Iceland. Got Norway. Got Auslan. Look at them over in Australia and New Zealand. I think Thailand should have some now. Now they're officially on sale there. Going all the way down towards the Philippines. Nothing in Africa yet. Got to work on that. And let's just, for giggles, look at number 1, see if they showed it like when it opened or if it's just black. Yeah, they did show it when it opened. Look at that. So just there in California, outside the design center, and some other areas you might travel to. So now we were going to Tesla.com/truck/design. I like that their URLs are just simple. So now you can order your own Cybertruck. 74.9. That's gas savings. Yep. If you qualify, you can get a $7,500 commercial clean vehicle credit for $7,500. Let's look at the criteria real quick. Businesses and tax-exempt organizations may qualify for a credit of up to $7,500 for commercial clean vehicles. To claim the credit, the customer must include it on their tax return after delivery. And financing, they're offering $529 for 72 months. Old school, 60 months. No, let's go with 36 months. All right, so they're not offering any incentives on. It only goes up 1% for 84 months. They're not offering anything special for financing. Let's go back to cash. That's not to say they aren't offering nice financing on other vehicles, but nothing on the Cybertruck. All right, so $79,990 comes with the 4.1 0 to 60 on the dual motor trim, 11,000 pounds towing capacity. The range is a little different than they were showing for Foundation Series. Some folks have suspected that might have something to do with the dry anodes. We don't know. But you're looking at just 325 miles from the 330, 340 miles on the Foundation Series with the small wheels. You get Cyber Beast for $99,990. And Cyber Beast does automatically change your wheels. You can reserve today for $2,000. Core wheels and covers, $325 estimate. It even went down on this one too. It's $314 instead of $325 with the dual motor and the all-terrain tires. So let's Cyber Beast it up and see if that changed much from what I remember. So this one, you're looking at. Oh, you can't turn the wheels back. On the Cybertruck Foundation Series, you could turn the wheels back. And on my custom order, you could also turn the wheels back with the Beast. 301 miles of range, and I don't know what we're looking at with the all seasons. You still got the 11,000, but the vehicle weighs more, so you actually get less towing capacity and less payload with the Cyber Beast than you get with the dual motor. But your 0 to 60 from 0 versus the from 0 with a foot of rollout versus the 4.1 with the rollout not subtracted. So they're closer together than you would expect, but this one is faster. 301 miles of range, 11,000. No way to change your tires yet. I don't think it comes with the light bar anymore either. Tri-motor, laser edge, Cerberus badge, rear torque vectoring. Oh, torque vectoring, not steering. Torque vectoring is because it's got 2 motors in the rear. Oh, yeah, you can. Okay, there we go. They just really jumped it up from where I was. So if you take it to the core, you get 320. $301, and we were looking at what, 315, and 325, and 314. There's definitely something up with the non-foundations. And the Beast, 314 versus 301, and 320 versus 325. And there's something different about the Cyber Beast versus the regular non-foundation. Because they're within 5 miles on the core wheels. And 13 miles on the all seasons. I would, if I had the money, I would get the Cyber Beast and then put core wheels on it. You get the tactical gray or the white interior. I like it with the white, but I don't know that I would pay. I don't know that I'd pay for the white door cards and panels. I don't know. Full self driving is $8,000 if you didn't reserve on time, and then the charging, you get the universal home charger or the mobile connector. Power share is available in the Tesla shop. The truck's got it, but you'll need to buy some stuff to make it work on your house or office. Glass roof sunshade, underseat storage bin, all-weather liners, available October to November, so you can get it real soon. Let's go to the Beast again. One, I bet you it comes up faster, and two, I'm curious if the light bar is still included or if that was a Foundation Series deal. October to November. There it is. This one's from Sawyer. Probably the same thing. No. Car and driver tests the Model 3 Performance, which starts at $47,490, including the federal tax credit, has nearly identical test results to an all-wheel drive BMW M3 Competition, which now starts at $86,000. Compared with its predecessor, the new Model 3 Performance is at 3.9 seconds and 8.7 seconds quicker to 100 and 150 miles per hour. Nice. So they test the new Model 3 Performance. Identical results to the M3 Competition. It's a weird comparison to the old one to not say what the old one actually did. Because it's not 3.9 seconds faster than the old Model 3. That one wasn't slow. And this one got butchered. Thankfully, the link is intact. It just says 12 hours. Or 12H. But this is from Andy Sly, and he's talking about Tesla released a video of their new wireless charger. It shows 22 kilowatts of charging power. He didn't frame by frame it like I did. 35% state of charge, 56 minutes remaining. Based on that, here's a guess of the Robotaxi battery. He's suspecting 40 kilowatts with an 80% limit, or 30 kilowatt hours, 40 kilowatt hours assuming 80, 30 kilowatt hours assuming 100%. Choose your fighter. Robot Snake or the pad. Well, I'd go with the pad, unless you can supercharge it. Tell us the kilowatt hours for the Model 3 battery for comparison. 75. Up to 82, actually. Cybercab will likely have a 35 kilowatt hour pack, 5.5 miles of energy per kilowatt hour on 200 mile range, maybe. Elon Times points out it's actually 25 kilowatts. 22 is faster than our corded Gen 3 charger at 11. Now I feel like a peasant. 30 kilowatt hours would definitely keep the price down. 30 kilowatt hours. Can current Teslas get a retrofit wireless charging? Maybe. We'll see. Probably not. Shows 25. Pretty sure it's 80% limit based on the animation when the charging is completed. Good point. Next car I'm getting is a Tesla. I've been wanting one for a long time. 4680 LFPs, so 100% limit, probably, yeah. Almost there. This one's from Electric Co. They say Volterra is expected to expand electric semi-truck infrastructure with 2 new stations. Close these extras down. I think I closed one too many, but that's fine. Volterra is set to expand 2 new stations. This week, they announced they were expanding their electric vehicle charging infrastructure network with the addition of 2 new ZEV infrastructure development sites strategically positioned across transit hubs in California. The first newly acquired site is a 0.85 acre off the Pacific Coast Highway in Wilmington, and strategically located just 4 miles from the port of Long Beach and 5 miles from the port of Los Angeles. The company believes that it's the ideal location to support the region's significant electric drayage operations, and the site can accommodate 30 electrified stalls. That's actually kind of cool. So if the trucks don't stay on the port, or while they're coming in and out of the port, or just to not tie up space in the port, you can bring it off, charge it up, and take it back. And 5 miles is nothing as long as they don't run it down to 0. The second site, spanning 2.75 acres in West Sacramento, is strategically positioned positioned near both the I-5 and I-80, and the site will operate at 100 electrified charging stalls with over 1 megawatt of power each. Because 1 megawatt is not going to do it for that many trucks. Once operational, West Sacramento site will become Volterra's largest commercial electric vehicle charging depot, taking the crown from the 65 port station Volterra operates for logistics company Einride back in March. Securing these 2 sites is a significant step forward to our mission to support the electrification of commercial fleets. The 2 new California charging depots bring the company's total portfolio to 22 sites. Including a bus. Cool stuff. There are comments. We can look at them. 100 chargers at megawatt level. That's pretty good. Delivering tens of megawatts isn't really a challenge, but 100 megawatt connection is a tad more. Yes, it is. Probably close to proper grid infrastructure, since a long line at 130 kilovolts is quite expensive. Yes. If you look at the press release, the wording is a little clearer. The Sacramento site has a service supply of 1 megawatt, not 100 for 100 stalls. Okay, so I was wrong. And so was that guy. However, I'm guessing that these 2 sites have vastly different use plans. My guess is the LA site is for fast charging trucks, taking those to warehouses outside of LA to places like Ontario, where a midday charge might be needed, and the Sacramento site will be an overnight truck stop. Okay, that makes sense. Drive to Canada, we've got the same thing we just looked at. Robinson says, the Vegas Loop Westgate station is now open. We talked about it being dug, and now it's open. Big news, the Westgate station is finally open. This is the first Tesla I've seen going into the tunnel. It's now possible to go to Resorts World, Fontainebleau, and West Central halls of the Las Vegas Convention Center. Congrats. Kudos. And it's a 2-pipe, not a single. It'd be cool to see an updated map with the fully completed tunnels. Yeah, but also one that like fits on the screen. It's hard to tell what's going on over at Encore and Win. I'm trying to see something this week. One tunnel is finished, but the question in the progress of the return tunnel to Central. If we're lucky, it'll be open by CES, but I doubt it. Why are the 19 robotaxi units that demoed on 1010 in the Warner Brothers lot not running in the loop today? Fair question. Can they? The interest goes back and forth to Riviera Station, Fontainebleau. From Riviera, there's a junction to go either to Resorts World, West, or Central Hall. Vehicles driving via the tunnel we see on the right side, or is that tunnel used to go to different destinations? Okay. Somebody gets a video of the ride soon. I plan to use it for the SEMA show and video it then in about 2 weeks. 2 weeks, but not 2 Elon weeks, 2 real weeks. I bet they will put them there, in my opinion. It's a logical place. And, okay. Another one from Tesla. Tesla faces a potential delay in launching FSD in China as regulatory hurdles persist. Which is the screen on the Model 3 looks so on the old Model 3 looks so small now compared to Cybertruck and Robotaxi. And of course, my own. Recently, Tesla said they hope to expand FSD to China and Europe in the first quarter. However, that timeline may be shifting. According to a source for China Daily, the rollout progress is not expected to mirror the speed that the company itself has planned. They first hinted FSD was coming to China when Musk said that the feature would launch soon in other markets, including Europe and China, by the end of the company's July 24 earnings call. And that was followed by a post from the Tesla AI team on X in September that pending regulatory approvals, FSD would launch in China and Europe on Q1. However, China Daily's report says that Tesla has not received regulatory approval and is still waiting for permission to collect additional video data and have direct access to train the autopilot system. The holdup is related to data security concerns. One workaround Tesla has proposed is for government team to assess the video data before releasing it to Tesla. I'm curious about the AI training. They're not going to be able to use the same. I guess they could use the same one if they were allowed to get the video out of China, but the data center they would have to build there would not be as robust. Or if it were, it would be bigger because they're not allowed to use the same chips, and so that means they wouldn't be able to use the good ones, which means it has to be bigger to give the same performance. Oh, but they've already made progress by saying that the data wouldn't cross the firewall. So the great firewall. It'll be interesting to watch how this plays out. Is your reaction time faster than a Tesla game? Well, sometimes it is. Without the game, I can tell you. UK politician is attempting to stop the purchase of Tesla cars. That was a while ago. How old is that game? 2020. So it might not still be there. And finally, we've got this one. It's a Tesla X post. Tesla says efficiency is well above 90%. Marquez was not agreeing that this thing could be what we already know, because we've talked about it here, about the DOE tests. Hold up, it doesn't even touch the car? Genuinely asking, is there's a way this couldn't be inefficient? Marquez says, nope. It may, wireless charging is a massive waste. A really noble goal for something like this would be 75% efficiency. And then he got community noted. Oh, yeah. Community noted pretty bad. Wiferion, I believe, is or electricity. One of these two is the one that that Tesla bought, I believe. So we'll look at these three nodes before we go. But before that, Tesla says the efficiency is above 90%. What's going on, Timothy? Hey, how are you? Let's see. The wireless charging for smartphones and wireless EV charging have some key differences. This is true. Jeremy, love to see this. The 90%, not the Smackdowns. And what is the efficiency of today's wall chargers or superchargers? Pretty darn good. Tell it. He says, oh. Maybe MKB needs to stay in his lane a little bit more. No, stop with the stay in your lane gatekeeping crap. Although it would have behooved him to to find out more about the advances in this tech before jumping on. Savage. All right, so let's look at those 3 links from the community notes, and then we'll call it. Wireless power transfer, how does inductive charging work, and what are the advantages the process offers? So it looks like I have been auto-translated, or their EU notice is just not in English. Power without a socket, inductive charging, Nikola Tesla. Yeah, like this is hundreds of years late, or decades late, thanks to them making fun of this guy. He wanted wireless free energy in the 1800s. So 1900s, early 1900s. Either way, he wanted it for a long time and never happened before now. How does it work? During wireless power transfer, a transmitter unit generates an electromagnetic field. Alternating current flows through the coil of the charging station. Via this magnetic resonance, energy is transported wirelessly from the coil of the energy transmitter to the coil of the energy receiver. And so the way you would reverse that for vehicle to grid is you then make the ground station passive and the vehicle unit active, and then you can push the power back to the grid. Let's see. The 2 coils do not touch each other in the process. The range of power is a few millimeters to a few centimeters apart. Modern industrial trucks are mainly equipped with powerful lithium-ion batteries. I'm looking for inductive wireless charging can range between 5 watts and several kilowatts. So the 5 watts would be what your phone uses. 5 to 15 to 20 watts, depending on who makes your phone. Qi 2, I think, gets it up to 50 watts. Or at least just standardizes it so they can all use the same interface. As a result, the power electronics in conjunction with magnetic components receive a very good over 90%. So I guess that's the part that they use this as the link for. Wireless power for cars. That looks familiar, doesn't it? One major difference is the voltage available. While 24 to 80 volts are common in industrial processes, the electric vehicle batteries have a nominal range of 400 to 800 volts. Yes. To transmit the same power, significantly higher current flow is required in the industrial sector. On the other hand, wireless power transfer is making its way inexorably into production halls. All right. Wireless data transfer. Might as well if you're already in there with the power. Continuing on. Electricity says in 2022, Genesis GV60 and the Huawei HS9, their Halo technology got to, it's not 100%, 83 to 94%. So even theirs 3 years ago was better than what Marquez was predicting. Then this last one. This cheap one. 70%. How is that a source? It doesn't refute what he said. He said 70. How can you use that as a source? Okay, so that one's a bad source. The other 2 said higher numbers, so they could be used to dispute him. Oh, where'd y'all go? Cheers. Yes. So, I want to thank everybody for spending the afternoon here with me today, or the morning or evening in the case of Anders. And I want to thank our channel members like Timothy and Anders. And I will catch you all on the flip side. Monday, we've got a Tesla Life Express at the Tesla Life channel at 7 p.m. for premiere. And then on Wednesday, we'll be live there as well. So thanks again for all of your help and your time. And we'll catch you on the flip side.